Marcel first burst onto the airsoft scene in 2011, quickly joining the Taranaki Airsoft Rangers, where he dove headfirst into the sport of airsoft. He became heavily involved with running the club and eventually became the president. Marcel went on to start his own YouTube channel called Cellus NZ, where his passion for airsoft content grew to new heights. After taking a break from airsoft, he is back with a new perspective and new goals. Special Effects is proud to share his story, and we would like to welcome Cellus to the podcast. So Marcel,
Cool.
how are you?
Good.
It's good.
It's good.
I'm fine. How are you?
Good.
Yeah.
We're good.
Yeah, thanks. So we might as well rip into it. So thanks, Marcel. Thanks for joining us at your house at the Marcel studio. We're here with myself, Jono, and the other Jono, Jono, and
J1
Jono,
and J2?
pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much. That's what we roll
Bit of
with these
B1
days.
and B2,
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's like what,
Simplifies it.
25 years of like trying to work that out.
Yeah. I don't think we'll ever have the best solution, but J1, J2 is working.
What was Zulu take on it?
We were the Jonos. We were the detectives.
Yeah.
Detective Jono.
Jono and Jono.
Jono and Jono.
So you've obviously been playing airsoft
Mhm.
for a long time.
Yeah.
And you had a bit of a breakaway from it, and we'll get into that a bit later. But like, if we get back to like, not even day one,
Mhm.
like day zero
Yep.
of that like discovery of this thing, airsoft. So like, what was that? Like, how did you hear about it? And what was that kind of like light bulb moment in your head to be like, I actually want to go give this a go?
Okay. So Hone, my mate, we were working together, and I don't know how one of us spotted it or airsoft came up somehow. And this is what 2011, something like that.
Mhm.
And it's like, so interesting. And you start googling and you find out that there's these crazy guys running around in Midhurst playing airsoft, and I don't even know how they were advertising it back then. I don't know if they were putting it on Facebook or wherever it was, but reach out, email, whatever, and found out what was going on. We got really excited, so we're like, we need to get prepped. Like, you can't show up and be completely right. You got to get the gear. So we're like buying goggles from the hardware store, like full iPro, ANSI rated, because that'd be perfect. Went to like, I don't think we had army surplus. I think we're running around the warehouse trying to find camo,
Yeah.
some sort of camo clothes, because you can't just show up money or something like that. But I think the big thing for us, like the day zero, was we need to figure out what it feels like getting shot. Because you can't show up on the first day and get shot.
Yeah,
It
for sure.
hurts. So we went around the Hone's house, and I think one of us must have bought a pistol.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're like, we're in a room not much bigger than this. You're
Was
talking
it like legit pistol?
Yeah, proper
Or was
gas
it was
blow
like
back.
one of the
No,
springers?
we got gas grow back. Yeah,
Flat.
it was probably Hone's. And anyway, so we decided we were going to shoot each other. So could have been mine because I went first, shot him first.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, I was really gentle, shot him once in like the chest or something like that, right? And we're talking 3 meters, if you're lucky.
Yeah.
Maybe 2.
So not
So-
a good
so
representation
yeah,
of what you're going to run
Yeah,
into.
that kind of hurt. It's all right. Give him the pistol, and he racks it and shoots me twice in the sternum.
Mm-hmm.
On the
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, give me the gun back. But, so I think that was the most painful hit that I had at
Mhm.
all, apart from the occasional ear shot or knuckles. But yeah, we were just excited, and I went out and I bought my first AEG. I bought like an ICS Mini M4 with the split gearbox. This is gonna be awesome. It's gonna be great. Shut up on my first game, and I was like, right, this gun.
Yeah.
But I bought it. But yeah, so I think it was just that excitement. I've always been into hunting, small game and stuff like that, mainly pest control. You see the movies, play PlayStation a lot, not an Xbox so much, but PlayStation, and enjoyed that. And the idea of running around and kind of doing that in reality was cool.
Yeah.
And the fact, like, all the replicas are so realistic, so you can kind of have what we can't get in New Zealand. We can't get ARs, or we can't get, totally illegal now. You do as well, you could do them. But getting pistols and stuff is really tough. So to be able to get these cool boys.
These things that
Yeah.
you'd seen on video games,
Yeah.
and now it's you
Yep.
can run around with it and use it, and
Yeah, so I think that was like the day zero. It was just the excitement and having a mate that was into it. So, it's always tough showing up for a place on your own.
yeah,
When you've got someone to go with, it makes it a bit easier.
yeah.
And
Because
what was that first game like?
It was weird. So our very first game was the game after Matthias Venderley had passed.
Right.
So it was the first day back for the team. So this
Yep.
is like late December. So last game of the year, and also that was happening. So part of it, there was a memorial. So we all kind of stood and took a bit of silence. We had no idea who.
what a crazy
Intro.
first day experience to kind of walk into.
But it was also sadly really cool because you
Mm-hmm.
could see this group, they were connected, right? These guys are all mates, and there was this, and it was ages like, so Hodge at the time, he was an old fart like me, right? I think he's got a couple of years on me, so
Mm-hmm.
30 something, and then he's all these kind of like Josh She's like 10.
Yeah.
He's not,
Yep,
but
yep,
you know what I
yep.
mean? Like
Yeah.
these guys are young, and they're like 19, 20, and so you had these really different age groups, and the club was tiny, like I think there's maybe 12 of us.
Yep.
But they had this vibe about it, so you felt welcome, even
Yep.
though you were this weird guy. But I think that's that whole, if you're new to airsoft, people are going to love you to be there because you're growing that club, you're
For
adding to it, and,
Yep.
and you're the new blood, and I can see that excitement in them. So I think that helps, right?
Yep.
And if you can welcome the new players in the shop, that's more targets on the field. So
Yeah. It's like it's funny how your first ever game, like I remember it like it was yesterday, because it's so intense.
Yeah.
And I that whole mindset and that whole feeling is just so interesting, because now after playing it for years, like you can just go anywhere and play airsoft, and you have this degree of being comfortable. Whereas it's like, my first experience, like partway through the day, like friendly firing my own teammate, because it's just your brain is working
yeah,
at 200%, and you don't know what direction is what, you don't know who's on whose team, blah, 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 blah. And just how intense that is, and how that always kind of stays with you. And but then years on, how that feeling changes, and what you're kind of getting out of it years later versus that very first day. And I imagine the whole memorial side of things would have been a very intense experience on top of that. After your first day, like what was the reason to go back and keep playing?
Oh gosh, thinking back. So I think like Honey and I both were keen to go. So you're going with your mate, right? We were all kind of calling, and it was fun to shoot with your mate and shoot your mate. So you had that. But I reckon it's the community. It was the club, the people. So I enjoy the sport. I enjoy running around those highs and lows of, you're sneaking through the bush for 20 minutes because you're going to get that awesome kill, and then you get killed, all that kind of stuff. But it was just, I don't know if I'd say like adrenaline or a buzz, but it was just that community, being part of it. Like I wouldn't, like, got mates from it. I wouldn't say everyone that I've played with has become a mate, but there were like-minded individuals, right? It's something that is on the fringe, so not everyone's gonna be excited by it or think it's not mainstream. It's in the fringe there. But going back to the club Tar, I think there's something special. Having played at other clubs, and not dissing any other clubs, but there's something special about Tar when you've seen the father and son come out, and I'm keen for that when my boy's old enough. But also just that whole family vibe. Like from day one, it was a family vibe. It was no swearing, no alcohol, no smoking, no swearing. Yes, there is swearing, but not at each other, and it's very rarely that anyone kicks off in a negative way. I just think it was really easy to come back. It was really easy to engage and build those relationships. And even years later, right, you bump into people, or oh, you're back, and haven't seen you in ages. And that was coming back. I do like the fitness aspects now. Back then, it wasn't so much about fitness for me.
Yeah.
It was, the guns and the guys, and it's more interesting than
because you already had that baseline.
Yeah,
Now it's a little bit different.
Yeah, more interesting than sitting there and playing on the PlayStation. And Tar's an amazing field. Like, it's like you're out there and you can look up at the moan of the mountain and you're right underneath it. You just don't get that outdoors much. So
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, it's something that can be like sadly, like when because like when you do travel and you go to these other fields, and also like for some clubs, like they've had to, over the same amount of years, they've had to change their field like 3 or 4 times.
Yeah.
Whereas TAR's been very fortunate to retain their field the entire time, and which is fantastic. But sometimes it's like you lose sight of that.
Yep.
Because it's like, oh, like we've got it.
Yeah, take it
Yeah,
for granted.
100%.
Yeah, you take it for granted, which is like, so you have to remind yourselves every once in a while, like, oh, hey. And sometimes that's like a out of town player going, man, like you guys are really lucky. And the reality is we don't have this like showstopper field with like all the facilities and things like that. Sometimes for like one player, it's just the mere fact that like, oh, you guys have had the same field like all these years. We've had to go through the pain and heartache of like having to find new fields over periods of years.
A few moments later, 2,000 years later, one eternity later.
Where were we at?
We were kind of yarning
Yeah.
about your first
So you did the first one.
club experience.
What
We're
made you
talking
give it a
about
go?
how family.
Well, I was saying how the club was family friendly.
Yeah.
That's why reasons I was going back. I think that you're
Yeah.
asking. I think you've got move on to another.
Well, but like I think it's a good talking point, not necessarily a long talking point, but like it's really difficult to talk about TAR specifically and the successes of the club and things like that, because you just sound like you're blowing your own trumpet. But it's not, we're not talking about ourselves, but it's talking about this thing that TAR has achieved, which is like, in my mind, and it's just my opinion, but in my mind, it is that family friendly thing which creates a situation where the players look after each other. And because there's also younger players as well, there's kind of like that expectation of like the older players to not bring their bullshit.
Yep.
And to keep it lighthearted and friendly. And that's not to say that people don't get shitty from time to time, but and why I think it's like worth just kind of talking about is when you have that situation, especially for new players, because I was a new player, you were a new player, so was Jono. Like it helps you like get into the sport and then retain you, because like it's an environment you want to be in, versus like you go somewhere you don't feel welcome, or people treat you like shit, and you're like, fuck Airsoft, like I don't want to have anything to do with this, like these guys are all a bunch of dickheads. And it might just be like an altercation with one bad apple, and it's not necessarily a bad business or a bad club, but when you just have that friendly environment, then it kind of just helps foster long-term like membership.
Yep. And I think it's not just the long-term membership that's important, it's new players, right? Because we all have things in our lives, we all come and go, there's distractions, there's other things to do. But it's also, I don't know, it would feel really stale. I think it was the same 10 guys or same 10 people that show up every time, and it gets stale. Because everyone knows what everyone's going to do and how everyone plays.
And it gets super clicky, right?
Yeah.
So when a new person comes in,
there's definitely cliques. There's definitely, and it's not like there's an upper echelon. It's just like because these group of people came together and they're the same age, or they go to school together, or they work together. So you get
a group of mates.
Yep. And I have spoken to people that have left the club not because they didn't like their club, but they got bored with the game styles, or they got bored with what it is. And like you're talking about tar, and it's hard not to blow our own trumpet, but I've gone to a number of interclub games, and some of these are years and years ago, but the same vibe, right?
Yep.
You know, you show up to this game, and there's a common ground. It's like, check out my AEG, or check out my HBA setup. Have you seen this? It's like, oh, I've been wanting one of those. Or you can just see that, coveted look, someone seeing what you've got. But, whenever I've seen it, someone's going, check it out. And they pass you this $1,000 toy, have a look at, and there's no kind of worries about it, and they're all excited about it. So I think even as a community, yes, there will always be individuals that are harder to get on with, or that I haven't seen it, but not there for the right reasons, right? They want to hurt people. I don't think I've seen that in New Zealand at all. But I think that's one of the really unique things that we've got, because we're all kind of this fringe, weird little sport that you might not want to tell everyone about. Oh, what do you do on the weekends? What's this airsoft thing? Okay, it's like paintball, but with BBs. But we get it, and we enjoy it. And, we talk about Barbie for men, dressing up in your camo, and, getting all your right accessories. But I do feel like it's a community thing. I think that's something we're really lucky with New Zealand, because we are a small group. And I haven't gone to clubs where I've gone, I don't want to be here, I don't like this club. I've gone to games where I'm not enjoying this right now. Take a break, come back, whatever it is. But yeah, I don't think we've got. I think, like you said, other clubs have had different journeys. Tar's very lucky. What is it like? 2008 was at the start of Tar. And there'll be clubs that are older than that, but didn't necessarily mean they've had that long growing the field and growing the culture. So yeah, I think Tar's special. And the way to come back to it.
So there was obviously something there for, like, to kind of grab you and get you both into playing airsoft and with Tar and head down that rabbit hole. So, but that's one thing, to become a player and just be part of this club. What pulled you into wanting to do more, which inevitably led to you becoming the president of the club?
I think I was trying to protect it. I think I saw something that had a way to go. It wasn't going to be a business. I think that was really clear that the people that were running the club didn't want it to become a commercial business. But it was getting to a point, I think, like, we might have been getting around 20, under 20 people showing up every club game. We used to have, because you got the money from the day, we have this little plastic, like, ice cream container full of cash.
Yeah, little glad
and
bag.
you start taking it home. And
Not just glad bag.
Yeah, and my wife's looking at me like, what's all that cash? Don't worry about it. Like, what do you mean, don't worry about it? You got this cash in a plastic container. Like, so there's things like that we didn't have bank account. We weren't even in a corporate society. So when I looked at helping the club become more structured, that was to bring it into a corporate society, which meant we had to get X amount of members. We needed a secretary, president, and a treasurer. I think Hodge he'd been the armourer, he'd been running this thing for so long. And, protecting it, keeping Hodge there, but also giving him a chance, or one ton, giving him a chance to take a step back and enjoy it. But if I stepped into this role, I didn't want to be the president, in the sense, like, that's why I'm here, I want to be president.
Yeah.
But I was like, well,
The glory getter.
Yeah, and it was something that I was happy to talk about and to do. And it was things like, so we got I took the president's role, we established a corporation. It was hard to get down a bank account, because it's one of the things you've got to get people to figure out who's owning it or signing and stuff. We got T-shirts for the first time. We started getting people in cars to go away into club games and invite. We were doing a lot of people inviting the local clubs into it. But I feel like protect the club to help it grow, not the club, but help airsoft grow. And it was like, I can remember going into like a takeaway place wearing my Tar T-shirt that we got done with a silhouette of, things, and go, is there airsoft in your Plymouth? I didn't know we had a club. Like, this is the guy who's serving me across the counter. Like,
cool.
Go check us out. We're on Facebook, and I don't think we had a website at that stage, but you could see that growing. And, I think that ambition was getting more people showing up, keeping it going, getting it more talk, and legitimizing it a bit. So it was around that time, or actually I have no idea, when I started liaison with the arms officer about getting permits and stuff like that. We had to do, when you're running an event, people are running around with airsoft replicas that look like real guns. you have to call the police and register your event. So we were doing some of that stuff and becoming known, and newspaper articles were showing up every so often for these weirdos. And I know one of my videos was on the radio because they're trying to figure out what was happening at a venue, and sometimes, oh, did you know they used your videos on the radio?
wow.
Great, yeah,
Yeah.
but because they were checking out what airsoft was, what
Yeah.
these guys were doing at Parterre, what was going on there. So being the president felt natural. I don't know how many terms I did. It felt like it was a long time. But the committee just changed the club a lot. That organisation, and we were meeting in a space like this and having to have minutes, and we had secretary and all that kind of stuff, and it made the club feel more legitimate, but without changing, in my opinion, changing the soul.
Keeping
of
that
what the
core
club
morals
was, right?
of the club.
It was just, here's a way to protect the club and to create legacy. You know what I mean? Like, again, like it's been going for this long. If it was just a bunch of guys running around in the backyard in a paddock, it might not have continued. It probably would have known the guys that were running around the backyard in the paddock. They were enjoying it. But they talk about the day they were showing up the springers, and it's
hard.
what's a chrono? Bang! Oh, look, it's stuck in my arm. No, they didn't do that, but they didn't have that stuff that was there. But bringing a club in and getting that OPAT would protect it. It would mean that there was a legitimacy, and would give reassurance to parents that were sending their kids along. Right? There's a bunch of weirdos around the bush. Here's my 14-year-old son. Can he hang out for the day? Like, there's, just create something that made it feel more legitimate. And I think that groundwork helped the club go to those next levels. Like, it was nice. I think about what I achieved was all the boring stuff. Here's a document that says we're a club. Here's a bank account that says you can put cash in. Here's safety guidelines, and here's it's funny when you guys, or not you two, but you remember reading out the safety brief. I'm like, I wrote half that. I don't need to remember it.
Yeah, for sure.
I wrote it.
And
even to the point like when you've been reusing the rules, I wrote those too.
Yeah.
So that doesn't feel glorious or exciting, but that was those initial days to get the club. And it's been cool seeing when you took over as president and where the club went. From we've got a bank account, congratulations. So now look at the club.
Yeah, it's funny how you bring up legacy, because it's definitely something that I think about, and like legacy is all that boring shit that no one sees, no one really gives two hoots about, because as a player you just turn up and that stuff's there, whether it's a safety briefing or whatever it might be. There's just hours and hours of stuff that is getting done in the background, but that's what creates legacy, right? And people might think it's silly that we're talking about airsoft and legacies and things like that, but what it means is the people that are willing to sacrifice their time to do these shitty jobs that are not glorious whatsoever, so that a club is whatever it is, this thing that you're doing can exist beyond your time. And there's very few people that kind of are willing to do that. But without those people, like you say, it's hard to know either way what the future of the club would have looked like, and hopefully it would have been just as successful. But it just takes these kind of key people to come on board and be like, oh, cool, through the natural progression and growth of what we're doing, these are the next steps. But who's going to do that? Someone needs to do that, in their shit jobs. And so, without those people, it's man, there's so many things that can just kind of be there, be great in the moment. No one thought about the future. It all kind of just unravels, and then it's oh, do you remember that thing that those guys were doing so many years ago? Oh, whatever happened to that? It's oh, I think it's just fizzled out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you look at the club standing now. It's super strong, super healthy. They're still seeing, new members roll in.
Every game.
Every game, there's new guys showing up. So I think when you've got a club of that magnitude, which it's a high member base, and it can take a lot to run, but that legacy, like we just talked about, that groundwork that you put in all those years ago, it shows.
Yeah, and don't get like one ton, the work he put in was huge as well. Like
Yeah, for sure.
the hours and hours, so like one man band running that pretty much.
Yeah.
So when I started taking over running club days, I could see that relief from because he could actually play. You didn't have to, and you're taking all these AEGs home and they're wet, so you put them out in front of the heater to try and dry them out, and then you clean them and you're reattaching the parts that someone ripped off, and that's all work. That's it's volunteer, right? We all know what volunteer work's like. And you don't do like, I think the worst thing that you could have in your mind is I want to be the club president for the glory of it.
Yeah.
That's
Oh,
total steward.
no.
It's a service, right?
Man.
And if anything, it's those tough jobs. It's great when nothing's gone wrong. It's not so much fun
for
when
sure.
you have to help sort stuff because as the president, they will come to you, whether it's the field owner, whether it's a player, whether it's a player's parent, or whatever it is. And those are the hard parts. Those are the downsides when you're like, I don't play this game. Why do I have to deal with this drama?
Yeah, for sure.
But that again, like whenever I see because they had to get there earlier. They're staying there later.
Yeah.
They're not having fun on the camping. You know what I mean? But they're not running around enjoying it. They are making sure everyone else can. What you guys do. You're giving up.
Yeah.
What's playing airsoft? You don't get to play. You've got to run events and sell stuff.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
I know. And like it's true. And I do think that those roles are only sustainable for so long for one person, because I think it does like beat you down, because like none of it is there's nothing nice about that work. And like say you can't just turn up to a field and just be a player that blends in, that people don't even know your name. So it's like all of that responsibility follows you around, no matter what.
Oh look, I didn't wear my Van Lee patch for the first like half dozen games. I don't want to be known as a senior. I don't want to play. And it was so I started wearing it, and but it was like okay, I feel ready to give back a little bit.
You do. You actually have to protect that a little bit, and we've seen people like come in like super enthusiastic, just want to get amongst it and do all this stuff, and they do a fantastic job. But they just go,
they burn themselves
full
out.
throttle, full send, and then a year or two later or whatever it might be, it's like, oh, they're completely burnt out. And it's like, you actually have to, just kick it into cruise control a little bit and do it sustainably. Otherwise, that's what happens. Because there's a million jobs to do. Like you can like literally volunteer for like 10 more jobs than you're currently doing because they're sitting there waiting to be done. But that's how you end up burning yourself out. So how did like Cellus and the whole YouTube channel come about?
So the call sign Cellus, like no one gives you signs in airsoft. You choose your own. So if you've seen the movie Pulp Fiction, there's a character called Marcellus Wallace. He has a rather bad time and then he gets his revenge. And Marcellus, so Marcellus, and my mates would call me Cellus or Wallace for a long time. I was called Wallace for ages, which I don't know how that happened. But Marcellus stuck. And then like, my wife calls me Sal. So it just became like Cellus. And I kind of like go, life's full of ups and downs. I don't mind the fact that guy basically had a really bad, I'm not going to say because I don't know who's watching this. If you don't know, go check it out. But he had a really bad time with a guy called Zed, I think it was. But then he went, I'm going to go medieval on your motherfucking ass with a samurai sword kind of thing. So he was still a cool character. But that's where Cellus came from. That's what I was saying earlier. Like, I don't know if I want to share the real story where that came from. It was just a nickname that, so Sal I get quite often, but Cellus, from that Marcellus thing. The YouTube channel. So I go full throttle myself in this stuff, right? And when I was playing airsoft, I don't know how many years I've been playing for before I was like, I want to do something more. And what I like about airsoft is that there's so many facets that you can go down, right? So teching,
Yeah.
like you can't see on camera. There's a whole bunch of crap that I've been working on for
Yep.
weeks now, building AGs and rebuilding gearboxes.
Mm.
And at that time, it was like, can I get whatever FPS, like 410 FPS,
Yep.
3 joules, and can I get it to go 50 meters? Like it was just trying to get that range and parts. It was teching stuff, and guys were trying to get faster builds. I wanted accuracy and range. And it's like, oh, I'm getting accuracy and range. So that means I can shoot far away. Well, how cool would it be to capture some of that stuff? So, the GoPro came out, and then there wasn't any scope cam. It didn't exist. So I built my own 3D design, and a mate, Johnny, made it in the CAD for me, and I printed it out of commercially based 3D printers because scope, and that was cool. So I could share that, So being able to film it, I think the two factors. One, there was a bit of excitement about I'm going to get a YouTube channel going and see how many subscribers I can get, whatever.
Because it's around the time when
Oh.
like YouTube,
Novrich didn't exist.
yeah,
Yeah.
but it was still around a time where like airsoft on YouTube was kind of starting to blow up,
Yeah.
right? Like it was
Yeah.
becoming a thing. Like,
Yeah.
oh, you can do airsoft
Yeah.
and have your own airsoft channel.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
But still very early on, like say Novrich wasn't around.
Well, there was, I
Desert
think
Fox around
YouTube.
then?
No, I think they may have been starting. Like they
Mhm.
were, because I'm a bit older than them, they would have probably
Yeah.
been quite young. But like you could see, I think their sniper videos were those ones that were starting to come out. Like I remember when Novrich came out, and how did he get 1 million subscribers? This is freaking airsoft. I've got like 600. What the hell? And then there's guys like Brain Exploder that I was actually engaging with quite a lot online because he was doing 3D prints and so was I. And then I can't remember all the names, but I can visualize the guy Jonathan, but I can't remember what his channel was. Airsoftology, and
Yes.
you'd actually be
Yeah.
chatting with these guys,
Yeah.
because
Who are massive.
now,
You
but no, I'm not. But I'd be having these one-on-one conversations with them over, just engaging and saying really cool and dreaming about it. But the main thing was I wanted to create stuff that people could see to come to the club, to promoting the club, right? So the idea was, get footage, show the club having fun times, and we were doing silly stuff like these pistol shoot-offs, and then there's the gauntlets and running around, and it was a marketing thing for the club. So again, I wanted to help the club grow, and that was cool. Like I'd hear stories about, oh, do you know that on the screen in ASGC they've got your videos playing?
Mhm.
They put you up on the screen.
Yeah.
Cellus is playing. Like, what? Okay, cool. And then, like I said earlier, like I heard that someone was talking about Partia Hospital, Partia Wharf, what's happening to it, it's this eyesore, and then like, hey, some crazy guys running around with these guns, check out this airsoft video, and so they were talking about my channel on the local radio and relating to the building. So there was some fun with doing that. I really enjoyed the editing, so like I got fully into it, and I was rotoscoping, and I was doing freeze frames, which like the hero shot, so someone's running through it, freeze them, and do stuff, and I did explosions, and you could muck about. So I enjoyed that element. So teching was diving down, video editing was diving down. 3 cameras at one point, had camera facing me, a scope camera, and that was fun to work with. It was just another level of airsoft keeping me going. The channel, even when I walked away from it for a number of years, it just kept ticking over. I was like, do I take it down or I leave it? I know the club would still reference it occasionally. And I think I've put up another half a dozen long format videos, and I started playing with shorts, which have been really enjoying.
which is completely new.
Yeah, and that I was trying to find the sweet spot, and I found like 5 to 6 minutes was when I was doing it, all people would watch. And now I'm like, well, I don't really care. I'll make a 10-minute video or a 5-minute video or a 40-minute video. I have, but the shorts are fun. Like, what can I do in a minute?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm just having fun with that stuff. So, yeah, Cellus in the channel. It really was promote the sport and promote the club.
At that time when you were like in full swing of the channel, was there any other guys in New Zealand doing it at all?
Not like I was doing, I don't think.
It was super
No,
good time.
No Cat came later.
Yeah.
No
one else in the club though.
No one in the
Like
club.
you,
Like the people,
like-
everyone was like running with GoPros, and
Yeah.
no one was like even now you see people. I took my GoPro and they'll cut 5 minutes out or 30 seconds out and throw it up, but not formatting or editing the video or trying to splice them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Capture their own fun.
Yeah, I think even when I was starting to like do video content with airsoft games, like it was easier just to upload it to Facebook and just
Jump in.
share it with
Yeah.
like the club Facebook page. Like it seemed like at that time, YouTube was just this whole other step of like seriousness, and it's just like because we're talking about such a lengthy amount of time, like we can literally like reference like people like Novrich when he was first running around doing his videos with a massive camera mounted on top of his like sniper rifle.
Video camera, wasn't it?
It was it was crazy, and now it's like you can't even see the cameras that are mounted now. They're so small.
I've got one of those Morbius, I think they're called Morbius cameras, and we were getting security camera lenses, cracking open the camera, getting the lens and gluing an IR filter into it so it would work, and then putting the 20mm camera in to get the zoom, and that's how you had to do it. And then if you were lucky enough, you put it in a pet box. Make it look pretty.
But you had to do that.
Your own camera.
Like there's no manufacturer that were building those. Like they were custom built.
I remember getting like a tubular camera that I mounted inside of my helmet, which was kind of cool.
So was it like Contour?
Yeah, Contour
was like competing with GoPro at the time.
Yeah, I think GoPro is still my favorite. I like the footage. I've been looking at the DJI cameras, which is quite small, but I do like the GoPro. But yeah, those run cams, the scope cams that they've got now, for a couple of $100, and you can get your 20mm and whatever at 40mm. They're awesome. That's on the shopping list when I have money after not paying for events for a while.
Yeah. The wish list.
Yeah. That never ends. Yeah.
So you're a player. You're like, president. Like you're doing a lot. Got the YouTube channel. Everything's happening. And like say you just go head first and get stuck in, and you're doing all these things. Was that kind of like part of the reason that you got to a point where you're like needing to step away from airsoft and have a break from it?
If I reflect back on it, like, because I'd stepped down from president and committee before I left. You guys had both, I think I recruited you, and I don't know if I recruited you on the committee, but you would have been president at that stage.
Yep.
So I managed to get that go, and I wasn't running club games. I can remember vividly the moment I'm done. It was just after Matsfield had been deforested. So the owner had decided to cut basically all the main trees down that we had, and the field became this wasteland. And this guy was running the event on the day, and he decided to send a squad of us around some he's like, I want you to do this big flanking move. My Milsom event, and he sent me and Andrew Bartlett and a few other guys out on this leg breaking journey around skirting around the field. And I was just going, I think I was like 45 minutes into it, this maneuver. I don't know how many times I've fallen over. And by the time we got there, we'd missed it. We're taking us so long, you're like, oh, it's too late. And I'm like, oh, this field sucks.
Yeah.
And I've not enjoyed today. And then I was like, I've loved this for so long, and I've got this feeling this sucks. I don't want to do it. And I was like, I think I need a break. So burnout for me wasn't airsoft; it was also life.
Yeah.
So I'd taken on a really dominant. What's it mean? I was running a local business for another company, a multinational, a large organisation, and I had a whole lot of targets to get with the business manager for it here. And that was hitting me. My kids were quite young, and I was getting guilty about going. I know people with young kids getting guilty that disappearing to play airsoft instead of being like who was having postnatal depression. Hang out with her, and so I was like, if I'm not enjoying this, why am I giving up? Oh, sorry, let's hit my brain. Why am I abdicating my responsibilities in playing airsoft? I need to do something else. So I decided to take a break, and life just started rolling. I don't know, gosh. So COVID, how long ago is that now? That's 5 years, isn't it? So COVID would have hit.
Yeah.
And then there's no airsoft during COVID. I then got made redundant, which I was quite happy about because I started my own business. So now I started my own business, which you guys know. And my business was in airsoft. And I did look at starting an airsoft business and went, what I want to do, I can't do, like to create an arena, an indoor CQP field in New Plymouth with a population of 100 and something thousand, and you're lucky to get 30 people show up on a fortnight. I can imagine all the messages, do it, because we'll come every day. I'm like, not when you got to pay $30-40 a game, whatever it is, to keep the business going.
For sure.
A warehouse is $100,000 a year, all that kind of stuff. So I took that break with the intention of taking a break, and then at some point I'm sitting there going, "Oh man, I'd love a PS5. Oh man, I'd love this." And then
Oh no.
open up my cupboard. It's like, why do I need 15 airsoft
Yeah.
AEGs and gas blowbacks?
Yeah, for sure.
I'll just sell a couple. I'll keep the ones I really like, and then I sold everything. I had nothing. The only thing I had left was my mask.
Yep.
My mask and my goggles. And I think I had a shirt that I couldn't sell. It's too big for me now. It was an XL. I lost the weight. So, yeah, but so for me, airsoft didn't burn me out. I think life burnt me out, and then airsoft didn't have the glory. Like, I don't know if you guys remember the day when the field changed.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and
But,
it was
like-
you'd lost a mate.
Yeah. And like for all the viewers that don't know TAR and don't know the situation, 50% of the field was a pine forest, and they decided one day that they were going to mill all the pines, which is totally
Yeah.
totally fine. That's what they were there for. They were there to be milled, but it was 50% of the field, and when they did that, they absolutely just demolished half the field, and it was just completely unusable for a long, long time. And yeah, that was yeah, it's just another crazy thing to think back on, because like at that time it's just like, what the hell are we going to do? Like, we still had 50% of the field that was usable,
But it was such a different part of the field, right? Like I can see myself sitting in Matt's field watching the light come through the
I know.
trees. I can remember Matt's base and lower base and the not Death Star, all these weird things we had created. I can vividly remember it. We're even looking at the video. I could probably still walk around that place in my mind. Now, do you think I can find any of those? I can find lower field, but
Well, when you go, when you take yourself back to that time, it was like every fortnight, it was something like rugby and arena.
Yeah.
And
Yes, that's
base
part of it
and
too.
base defense in Matt's base. You know, it was such a well used. And just a really dynamic part of the field that we. And it's crazy when we think about, you know, like you've just touched base on how, you know, life was, you know, getting hectic and crazy. But the thing for you with the field was that trying to trudge through all this crazy carnage and going, man, I you know, this part of the field is not nice to me.
Yep. And my play style was very different back then too, right?
Yeah.
So I was sniping and DMR because I wasn't moving in a hurry. So I was I liked the range, and that was all gone.
Yeah.
And the other part of the field is gorse and dense bush, and I don't feel you can do range there very well. So it was like, how am I recording a sniper video? I can't get anywhere to snipe it because
But yeah, I feel like if we went back to that time when you sort of walked away, I could probably name another half a dozen of those OG guys that sort of walked away around that time period. Yeah, most definitely. It's crazy. It's crazy how attached to a couple of trees and a bit of bush you can get.
Yeah, and and it is like a reoccurring thing with like airsoft at the end of the day, because it's also struggled with its own identity. Like if you're, you know, if like for me and Jono, like we come from a motorsport background with motocross and GP bikes, and like if I think back to then, it was very easy to explain to my now wife what it is that I'm doing. Like I'm competing, you know, racing bikes, competing for annual championships and things like that. This is how much money I need to spend to do that. This is where I need to travel throughout the year to be able to compete in that. And like realistically, it's exactly the same. Like I'm not a professional athlete. I'm not getting paid to do this, but that is far easier to get across the line than being like, oh, hey, hun, I've just, you know, I've got my camo gear and my airsoft gun. I'm going to run around the bush with my mates.
Not just that. I've seen you make cups of tea in your camo gear. You've sent me photos of you making cups of tea.
And part of that is because like, well, what are you doing again? Like, are you doing a sport, or is this like this hobby thing that you're doing? Like, we've got other stuff in our life that you need to like sort out. Like, what are you doing? Like, are you just like fucking around with your mate?
Yeah.
So, I feel like it is very easy for people to kind of come into it, do their thing, have a great time, but get to a point in their life where they are like, well, we've got this other stuff going on, which like need our attention because we're adults now. We have all these responsibilities, so airsoft is kind of interfering with that, or like I just don't feel the same about it anymore, and so I'm just going to go focus on these other things, and which is totally cool. Like, bad
it's
anyone
healthy.
that does that.
Yeah.
It's good for it.
Like, I'm not racing bikes anymore,
Yeah.
and I have very clear reasons as to why I'm doing that and why I'm choosing to focus on airsoft instead. So I've done the exact same thing. But a lot of the time, people, for the most part, that we've seen over the years, don't necessarily come back.
Yep.
So you've taken this massive step away to focus on a lot of other things. But you're back.
He's back, people.
Like, and dude, like, like you talk about like, you don't know what you got until it's gone.
Yep.
Like when you get to have those moments, not just in airsoft, but with anything, especially when it's people that do come back, like yourself, and you're like, God damn, like it's like you kind of like a little bit giddy to be like, like it's actually real nice to like have you back doing this thing and us, and it has been awesome. But like, what was it that was kind of the draw card?
So I took a 6-year break, sold all my gear, so I had nothing.
Yeah, you had no reason to come back.
Hone was dipping in and out, and so he was talking about going out to the club, and he was not like, he doesn't big up anything, but he's like, the club's really good at the moment, check stuff out. I'm real still now. I'm out shooting, hunting, and that's what I want to do. And I got into my fitness a lot. I summited to Maunga for the first time. So I lost over 30 kgs. Health issues. That was a kind of a thing to do that. And I was like, no, I'd rather go trail running. I'd rather do all this other stuff than play airsoft. But there was always this kind of, what I remembered of it, what I loved about it was always there.
Which is dangerous, right?
Yeah, there's a fear. There's a fear that if I go back, it won't be the same.
You'll ruin your memories.
If anyone of my age goes back and watches He-Man, they will know about ruining childhood memories. You guys are too young.
Don't go back and watch He-Man.
Yeah. No. So you go back and watch the shows when you're a child and go, oh my God, that was rubbish. So I was worried about that. But Hannah's like, look, dude, come along. And he'd bought lots of my gear. So he had most of my AGs, so he's like, you can have your six pack. And I'm like, kind of dirty now. You've done shit, mate.
Familiar territory.
But anyway, so like, come along. And I thought, okay, I'll go along. And I think I went, okay, I'm not going to show up with my hoodie again. So I went and bought some camo. This time I didn't buy from the warehouse, but from Army and Outdoor. So I got myself some nice British, what do they call the multi-cam version? I forget what it's called. MTP, whatever it is.
Yep.
Bought that. I had my mask, which is sentimental. That's still there. It's still there. I don't know what else I had. So other bits, pieces. Showed up with Hone, and I think I don't know if someone got wind of it because there was people waiting for me. So people that knew I was going to be there had shown up as well. So it was really cool. So I got hugs and welcomes back.
It was a big ceremony.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. Everyone's going to shoot you. That's like, damn it. And I remember showing up and going, I don't know half these people. There was this big, you guys put this big poster up of Ewan in a kilt, who I vaguely remember was a 14-year-old.
Yeah.
And this guy, Sam, who was like 8, and these guys are now running the club. So that was quite a shake-up. And I, whatever gun Hone gave me, I think it was the 416, and I got into the game, and I remember running down Alpha. I keep getting the names wrong because it's Malonesfield, sorry. Running down Alpha, and then hiding behind a tree and shooting me, going, what do I do now? And going, what am I doing? Get up! And then start shooting, and then move forward. And I think it would have been maybe 2 games before I felt I'd get back and just get hit,
Mhm.
you know, the whole thing. I used to tell me, just get hit lots. That's what you do. Get out into the field, get hit lots. And I got back into it, and all of a sudden, the atmosphere was everyone was the guys that I don't know were still good. You know, I could sit back, just
Yeah.
a newbie,
You could just be a
Mhm.
face.
and then those who knew me.
Yeah.
And people come up, like, remember me? I was like this guy, like tiny, like,
Yeah.
hi, how are you? Jeez, what did you sprout up?
Yeah.
But the vibe was there, and then like the work that you guys did, I know you guys put in because I think there was only one or two of the CQB buildings had gone in when I'd left.
Yeah.
It might have been
Yeah.
Bravo was getting built. I think it might have been the first one, or was it Alpha?
Alpha was
Alpha
the-
was
was the
like
first
that,
build.
those 3 buildings.
Buildings. Okay, so
Yeah,
I think
with
they
third
were there.
concept.
And then it was like, was this one? Is that one is a fake tank that someone was built? And
Mhm.
then the arena was usable, and you guys,
Yeah.
I think by then you'd done OPF 2 and you'd built the bridge.
Yeah,
mainly
yeah.
the central.
Yeah, and then these things were there. The field was different, and I had to learn the field again.
Mhm.
But the people were very similar. There was still that vibe. Um, and yeah, I just felt home again.
Mhm.
I've been on the Moonga maybe twice in the year or so, and I've gone from like every weekend being up there. And so I get my fill then, like again, like I can sit there and I can look out in the wilderness and be there. And like, I don't know what you get entertainment wise for having like 8 hours, or how long we're there, 6 hours for the price we spend
Mhm.
out in the bush, hanging out with your mates.
Yeah.
So there's something special about it. And I'd forgotten like, what's this? It's a P226. That's right. Yeah. What's that? It's I forgot the names of everything.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I was like, at one point, I reckon like a Hodge. There might be only Hodge and Sheed that have owned more varieties of AEGs than I
Yeah.
did. I don't know if that's a true statement, but I think I try to count how many different AEGs I'd bought, tech and sold.
Yeah.
You know, like I knew everything. So yeah, coming back was like coming back home. And I got some really good advice from like she. He's like,
Mhm.
do not join it.
Yeah.
Do not run club games. If we need you, and you've said the same thing. If we need you, we'll come and ask you. Don't do it. Just
Yeah. Just be a face
you
in the
don't
crowd.
need to.
Enjoy
just
yourself.
play. Yeah. And I think I've done that. And I really my wife. I'm very fortunate that she tells me to go play yourself, get out of the house.
Mhm.
You know, you need to go hang out with your mates, get engaged up. And my kids are 9 and 11. They're a lot older. They don't need me around as much. But she's happy for me to go away to Cambridge or Auckland or Hamilton and do away games, and that without feeling guilty about it. And that's a whole other thing too, that I can keep things fresh, do
Yeah.
things differently.
So
Yeah.
like family life has changed. So therefore,
Yeah.
you being able to
Don't have the
interact
same
with
friction.
airsoft
Yeah.
feels
Yeah.
different.
Yeah, and
Put it in somewhere.
I've got a business partner and my own boss. If I need to pull back, I can pull back. I haven't got someone in a corporate saying, "You did really well, double it. You did really well, double it.
Yeah.
Why haven't you doubled it?" You know, I don't have anyone telling me that, so that stress doesn't exist. It's me going, "Well, I really need to make sure we get this done and that done, and I look after my people, look after my team."
Yeah. But
But-
outside of that,
Yeah, and I don't own a Maserati or a Ferrari, and I don't need to.
Yeah.
I just look after my family. So I'm not trying to make millions and millions of dollars. I just want a lifestyle that lets me play yourself. Like having wasn't a health crisis, but having a health alert and having people around me go or be sick, and you go, actually, what will bring me joy? So airsoft wasn't bringing me joy. Stop it. Hunting was bringing me joy. Hunting's not bringing me joy. Airsoft's bringing me joy. You know, I think that's it. I think if I get to a point that I've had enough of airsoft for a while, I'm not selling everything. I'm going to leave it, and I'm just going to show up less. And I think that's something that hasn't happened yet. But like, I think we've missed 2 games, so that's I think I did the CQB game at Stratford, and then no airsoft. I'm looking forward to next weekend.
Very cool.
Yeah.
And coming back, did you get that same sort of feeling as when you first played? Or was it because you were a bit more experienced?
I don't think
you're seasoned.
Yeah, I think I think what I was really cool seeing, like I've been watching some of these young guys who were coming at 14, 15 and now running the club. That was really cool to see those guys taking it, and like even to the point that they knew me, but I didn't know them. I couldn't remember who they were. because I'm old and I got to be
Our little squeaky kids.
Yeah,
back then.
they're tiny. And then you find photos of that was you. Oh my gosh, then this is you. No, that's really old. But I think it felt familiar.
Yeah.
The vibe, even like, right, come on, get your act together, get your gear out, guys. Come into the safety briefing. We got to get stuff going on. That same kind of drive, and it's like, oh yeah, whatever. We'll start in half an hour. We know what you're like. And then even on the field, like the camaraderie and oh, sorry I hit you, and just
It's just good
the
vibe.
vibe.
Good vibe.
Yeah.
Was there something though that felt different or new? Because like if there was feelings saying like I don't enjoy airsoft anymore, like this isn't for me, you know, and you're like I'm just gonna sell all my gear because this just isn't my jam anymore. Coming back into it, do you feel like things had changed?
My fitness level shifted drastically, going from 108 kgs to 70 something. Whenever I don't weigh myself anymore. Probably scared myself if I got on the scale.
You look amazing, by the way.
Thank you. But I can run around and I can outrun most people. You know, I found when I've been playing airsoft, everyone else is carking like, "Come on, guys, get up!
Yeah,
what's wrong with you? Keep moving." And my style of play is what I've always wanted it to be. I'm an assaulter. I get up front. I run. I get in. I can do what I wanted to do, even though my body is getting closer to 50.
Yeah. The things you should have been doing when you were younger.
Yeah, in my 30s.
You couldn't at that time.
No.
You are doing now.
Yeah. So yeah, I think I found that. The other thing that really impressed me was, so I was buying like VSC, ICS, one of the brands that I buy, Tokimarui, and then Crytek was just kind of coming out. I had the KWA Chris Vector. That was my dream gun, which is a piece of shit. Would run out.
I don't know anyone who's ever had one of those that worked.
Yeah,
Looked amazing.
yeah. Now I've
like
got
a piece of shit.
I've got the AEG, the Crytek AEG. I love it. I've got three Crytek. I've got the P90. I had the Tokimarui P90. I reckon I could have thrown babies farther than that thing. Sorry whoever bought that from me. But you know, like the AEGs are just so much that much further ahead. Like the AA Power 1 pistol was outranging. I reckon it outranges what I would have had as one of my top custom built AEGs.
Yeah.
Little gas bobette pistol, and it was like next to nothing. It's a bit ugly, but it performs really well. I'm running a high capper now because it looks nicer.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? Like I think those kind of things made me feel like I can actually play the way I want to play, and my gear works the way I'd like it to work, without me feeling like I have to drop $1,000 on it. And put, what's those Kaifura really expensive things? Yeah. But you know what I mean? Like I
never heard of it.
Yeah, but I mean, but I can still do that still, right? But you know, like I've got the toys I wanted, and they work the way I want them to. My P90 works the way I want it to. My Chris works the way I want it to.
And we've kind of spoken on that in regards to like back in the day, if you wanted like this laser beam like AEG, because that's the only way you or sniper rifle. Gas was not much fun. But like you had to tech it.
Yeah. Had to learn.
Yeah. Whereas for all you youngins that just go to a shop now and straight out of the box you can buy something that performs really good, and you do not need to touch it. Was not a thing like 10 years ago. You had to. That thing was okay. Maybe a piece of crap out of the box, and you had to pull it apart
every other week.
You had to upgrade it just to get it to a point like they are today, where you can just buy them straight out of the box. Got the MOSFET, got everything already in them. Yeah.
We were just getting those like Gate Nano. I remember getting one, and you plug it in line. And all the reason I did that was I could run an 11.1 and not fry my contacts.
Yeah. And it's it's just things we take for granted these days. But in saying that, it's so interesting to see there is still a level of tech work going on, which is interesting in New Zealand when you want particular parts.
Yes, someone should bring a whole lot of really good parts to the country.
Yeah, and I mean, hey, like you know, we're not the US or Europe, where it's just like ample like shops available, like
And brands.
tech shops.
Yeah.
Shout out Antec.
Yeah.
Who are just experts in that field and do it day in, day out, have access to like all the trick parts. It seems like it's a little bit more intermittent in New Zealand.
Yeah.
And it just is what it is. I mean, but at the end of the day, like, hey, like, I can't get it in New Zealand. Cool. Like, just get it straight out of the US. A week later, it turns up. So, I mean, it's not the end of the days, but yeah, for everyone getting into airsoft, just being able to go to the shop and, you know, hey, you want to go cheap and get your CM16 from G&G, you can do that, and it's a rock solid platform. Or you can go super high end, has all the trick bits already inside it. You just pull it out of the box, put a battery in it, and away you go, and you've got a really trick gun, which just was no thing back in the day. Back in the forum days.
Yeah.
The forum days.
Yeah.
So yeah, like, you know, obviously you got out of airsoft, you got involved in real steel. So like, are you still doing that?
So
fizzle?
I decided to try the pistol club. I was in there for a while, and then I realized how much that was going to cost. Thousands, and the competition's hundreds. There's ammo, even if you're doing your own loading. Mainly hunting. Going out, putting some meat on the table, which the wife wasn't so excited about when I brought goats home and stuff like that, and we were doing curries. She thought I was going to shut up the slab, a whole animal, throw it on the bench, and so you go. And no, I feel butchered it and brought home meat. But that gets really hard. That's an hour and a half, 2 hour drive to get to anywhere that I can hunt, or pay to go to private land, which isn't that great. I'm on a lifestyle property, so I've got a small bit of land, and I shoot rabbits. So for a while there, I would have had 7 or 8 different people that had me come around and culling rabbits on their property. Rabbits are a problem here. And they tended to be older or had commercial growing areas, and so they needed people that were not 18, and sorry, not saying all 18s are irresponsible, but not people that weren't irresponsible. So they wanted a few people that would come in and not shoot their plants or shoot their kit. So I did that for a while, a few years, and I enjoyed that. That was rewarding in a different type of way, especially when you could see the help you're doing. Like one grower, they were destroying his crops. The rabbits were digging out all the roots of his plants, and he was losing quite expensive plants. And I was able to help knock that population on the head. Sorry, people who care about rabbits.
Yeah, well, it's just a reality of life. I mean, a lot of us have pet cats, but in New Zealand, feral cats are absolutely destroying the wildlife. So it's like it's a thing that needs to be done.
I found other things to do. The manga was a big thing for me. That kind of connection, being up on the mountain was always I enjoyed too. Like the fact that now feels really close to it.
Cool. So obviously another new thing that's kind of come about at the same time as you coming back into airsoft is like the likes of ourselves with special effects, and then, you know, with MIA. I don't want to say taking things in a different direction, because like at the end of the day, we're both us and Benno and his team, we're 2 small teams doing our own thing within the scope of New Zealand airsoft. And it's never going to change the fact that 90% of airsoft is run by clubs. But obviously it's providing new opportunities that weren't necessarily available before. So how do you think, like, for someone that's like done airsoft for a number of years, taken a break, and then when you come back into it, there's like these now like companies that are producing airsoft events. They're they're bringing new places to the airsoft community. So like, what's your kind of thoughts on that, and being that it's very different from like what you were doing for those years before you stepped away?
So if I think back to before I stepped away, and the things we were doing, so we had like Patea Wharf, Patea Hospital locally, which was CQB, which were weird and wonderful. They were really tough because the owners wanted a commercial engagement scenario, and we were one off or three off. There wasn't enough to make that viable for them. So that's one thing that's going on in my head, is that by having businesses that are able to continually repeat and reuse the space would probably make those property owners or those landowners happier, because they're going to get a regular income that keeps it useful. If I think about the venues that I was blown away by, the infirmary in Waipakarau is probably the big one. That's another old hospital. While the Airsoft Hawke's Bay that were running it did an amazing job, and there's some really cool events. That commercially, from my understanding, is that there was probably health and safety issues, and then commercial issues. So that site disappeared. So you guys and Benno running events that can be legitimized. So it's not a bunch of guys just running around with no health and safety, no insurances, whatever it's going on. That can enter in a commercial agreement with the landowner, and there's a reward for the landowner to do it. Like I started going, oh, there's an empty site here. Can I use it? It's called Newport Prison. Well, now that's owned by a government entity. They're not going to let anyone run around it because it's got health and safety issues. Not if I do waivers. They don't care. Okay, well, there's a commercial property that's going to get demolished. It's owned by a supermarket chain in New Zealand. Ring them. No way we're going to associate ourselves with Airsoft. So to hear that people like yourselves and Benno have managed to get sites that were old universities, to get sites in the middle of town and buildings, that's impressive. And that's only going to work through commercial arrangements and relationship. And legitimizing and doing it in a way that the business owner is going to feel comfortable. Like me ringing up and going, hey, my name's Marcel, I really want to rent this facility from you. And they're like, well, to do what with it? No, we're a flagship supermarket chain. Anyone in New Zealand knows there's only 2 supermarket chains. You can figure out which one it is. Yeah. They're not going to let me run around the old supermarket, even if they're going to demolish it. They don't care what happens to the wall. The guys in Patea don't care, because they were just making $50 or whatever. Here's an envelope of cash. Thank you very much. I'm very happy. So I think that's awesome. The structure, the rules. What I would love to see is like a national standard, so I don't have to keep reading everyone's rules and going, what's your FPS limit versus your FPS limit? What's your engagement distance? That'd be nice if there was some sort of agreement that made it easy for everybody. I know some people with fancy guns can just change the FPS on their guns on the fly.
It's a good point though. And it would have to be like top 3 most challenging thing to get across.
But even clubs wise, you ship a club and it's different rules.
Yeah, and that's because hey, this club wants to do it this way, this club wants to do it this way, and obviously we've got the national body, which is ASNZ, and they have like standardized rules and ways of doing things, but at the end of the day, there's that they can advise and encourage, but there's just no way of them being able to enforce all these clubs to follow suit. But you're right. Like, I mean, any conversation with like any landowner in regards to airsoft is always challenging, and it has to be approached in a particular way. But it is definitely helpful when you can say, we are a company. Here is all our documentation. Generally, the first thing they'll ask, first serious question they'll ask is, do you have insurance? And we go, yes, we have insurance. This is the insurance that we have, et cetera, et cetera. And so kind of like they go, oh, yeah, okay, all right. Like, I'm dealing with someone that's serious about what they're asking. And then that obviously leads into follow-on questions, and then being able to, and then it's when you got all of these things in place, whether it's like insurance or documentation or whatever it might be, and I don't want to say that they take clubs less serious, but sometimes like when you're having discussions with particular people and you say, hey, we're a company,
Mm-hmm.
and this is what we do. I think sometimes like it is like they can digest that a little bit
Yep.
easier, or it just kind of clicks a little bit. I don't know,
I think it
but
does. Yeah.
but yeah, like I mean, like what I've seen over the last couple of years. I mean, if we just want to use MIA for example, like at the end of the day, like you don't have to like MIA, but what we all need to appreciate, end of story, is the likes of the UX site, which we're going to be. I'm not 100% sure when this podcast is going to come out, but anyway, next weekend, so a week from now, we're going to be going up to their last event at that venue, which is they've had the opportunity to use multiple times. And for anyone that doesn't know MIA and the UX facility, it's basically an urban AO that has, I don't know how many buildings on it, a lot of buildings, in the heart of Albany, Auckland, which like so so without Beno and his team doing what they're doing, we would not have UX. And I don't know if we'd ever see a place like that again. Hopefully in the future we will. But then, like Beno's done other things like the NERSC event. And so that particular event was done in a multi-story office building on Queen Street. Queen Street in Auckland. And for anyone that doesn't know, Queen Street in Auckland is literally in the CBD. So you could literally look at the Sky Tower out the window. And again, like that's just an opportunity that we've never ever had before. It's the most like I don't even think about the airsoft side of it. I just think, man, like that was crazy.
Just a crazy
playing there, like just playing airsoft there, like it was wild. And we may never have that opportunity again. So again, like MIA has been able to provide the airsoft community with opportunities that we haven't had in the past, and that's all they do. So like special effects and MIA, like the focus is not running clubs. So clubs have to run clubs. So there's like week to week jobs that need to be done, whereas we being special effects MIA have that opportunity just to focus on really key things, and one of them being airsoft events. And we always say we hope that people can see value in what we're doing. Like we see value in what MIA are doing, and we want that to continue. And like I think right now it's like super exciting for people coming into airsoft now to be like, oh man, like you've come in at a time where there's so much opportunity for you to go play the thing that you want to play, whatever it might be, that we just didn't have so many years ago, or like hockey, like had it for so many years, but everything comes to an end at some stage, and it's like you lose that, and it's like, oh, we're ever going to have something like that again? It takes effort to create those opportunities, etc., etc. And in New Zealand, it's we don't live in a country where there's just some abandoned
village.
Yeah, that's in good condition, that that isn't a massive health and safety issue. That's just not a thing. And we're not going to go play at a abandoned mall. Because it's like land and buildings are just so valuable in New Zealand that as soon as like that shuts down, it's like gobbled up by the next thing and
ripped down and developed.
Yeah. So and like so has that been a like with special effects MIA, and I'm sure that we'll start seeing like
Mm.
more kind of companies or more people getting more invested in
Yeah.
and looking at those kind of things? Like, do you think coming back into airsoft and seeing that stuff happen, that it's been positive for the airsoft community?
Yeah, like
Loaded question, by the
well,
way.
yeah. I wonder who my sponsor is.
If you are.
But like, take OPAF. So I mean, I missed the first two. The first one I think I was sick for that one, and the second
Yeah.
one I wasn't playing airsoft, and the third one I showed up. But like, the holy grail, the helicopter at airsoft, right? You know,
Mm.
you guys have done that. You've done it twice. Tanks rolling around. You know, those are so you're talking about venues or locations, but it's not just that. It's the event itself. So for me, one of the things I want to do is attend events. I want to go away and I want to see what's going on out there and like see these sites that I didn't know existed. So 40-hour Milson, not my cup of tea.
Mhm.
You know, I like skirmish. I like running around. What's the term? Milsim adjacent. I think that's the Storm Riders. They kind of use that.
Mhm.
I don't mind that. I'm not likely to want to LARP or run around and get engaged. I'm more happy with the skirmish side of things. But how often do you get to do certain things in your life? Right.
Mhm.
I think that was my third helicopter ride ever. Still not overly excited by helicopters.
Mhm.
I'll do it because yeah. Thank you very much. It was fun, but like, just these like I used to as a kid would go to like the War Museum in Auckland or Wairau,
Mhm.
you know, and
Yep.
see a tank and mannequins. Like
Yeah.
to see a tank rolling past you while you're playing airsoft.
Mhm.
I mean, do it if you haven't been to OPF, go to at least once, or maybe 5 times that.
Yeah.
The ZAL league, I'm sure you want to talk about that a little bit, but like that's different. I like the different. I like a variety. Again, keeping airsoft from not getting stale. And I think there's an element of showing up to your local club and running around the field and playing rugby or capture the flag, whatever it is. That's fun because you get to hang up with your mates.
Mhm.
But that can get stale. Like, and you know, one of the guys at the club said, I used to have a list of all the different game scenarios you'd run. It was quite long. Basically, capture the flag, whatever it is. So you could kind of pick it, draw a card, and choose where you go. But going to other club events was also fun. But then showing up at a pine forest is a different style of play to showing up into brush, to showing up into buildings. You know, so you can play differently. So round 2 in ZAL, running around with my P90
Mhm.
in a field where DML probably would have done a lot better.
Yeah.
Didn't like because the way I play again didn't matter too much, but I had no range and I could see
Mhm.
where I get hit from. You know, like those guys that had a
Yeah.
style of play
can see that benefit
and
having
their
that
field
range.
was different. If I was going to go to a friendly game and play a club day there, I'd probably take a different AG or whatever I had at the time. So yeah, I think that what MIA and Special Effects have done is creating repeatable events that people can attend and get engaged in at new, like it's awesome that you guys got a whole new feel for round 3.
Mhm.
I think that's really cool. I think those are all building the profile. Those are all building the enjoyment. Yeah, I don't know if I would be. I'm going to go to the same event, the same field every year over and over again. I think that would get boring unless there's something to it.
Mhm.
Like I know a lot of the American ones will have a rolling scenario and it builds on year. And we had that years ago. Bear Claw or something like that we had where if you went first, you were like a grunt and then you kind of got promoted up through it and you could rank up and you got
Yeah,
to
right.
catch it. That's kind of cool, collecting element of it. But yeah, I think bringing the variety and it's like I said to you, it's finding your balance. Like
Mhm.
not everyone's going to be competitive and enjoy competitive league. Not everyone's going to enjoy Milsim. Not everyone's going to enjoy skirmish. One of the guys that I spoke to that used to play airsoft went, "Oh, I used to play paintball and I showed up to airsoft and it was too slow."
Yeah.
You know, I used
Yeah,
to running really
Yeah,
hard.
yeah,
Yeah.
Well, you want
yeah.
to do
Used to
speed.
that comp
Yes.
style.
Yes. Yeah.
So where do we have Speedsoft in New Zealand?
Mhm.
I'm assuming in Auckland and events.
Yep.
So you can play differently, and I think that's something having that opportunity is really cool. And the fact that one of the premier events is on my doorstep, you know, that's even better.
Yeah.
You know, I don't have to travel and go figure out where I'm staying. I can drive to and from the field.
Yeah. Yeah, and you're kind of talking about like airsoft's so complicated to talk about because there's so many different reasons for doing it. But you talk about airsoft can become stale because you're just kind of like doing the same thing over and over and over again. Um, and and I think like one challenge to try and overcome is like, Jono played rugby like all his life growing up. And like to go from like grassroots rugby. So if we wanted to describe like club airsoft, or airsoft at club level being grassroots, which it is. Well, where do you go to from there? Like there isn't really anywhere to go, and that's not saying that it's right or wrong, but it can create a situation where it can become stale for one particular person, not for everyone, but for one person it can be. Whereas for Jono, like growing up, like he can start off at like when did you start playing rugby?
4 years old.
Yeah. So
First jump on the
four.
field.
So you could start playing rugby at 4, and from 4 years old, like so from the first day that you start playing rugby, there is a pathway from 4 years old
Yeah,
that will lead you
100%.
all the way to becoming a professional rugby player.
Yeah. Like it's you've got this massive club structure, where those clubs are full on, official sports clubs.
Yep.
And above that there is like a big governing body, and then above that you've got Rugby New Zealand and Rugby International. So there's this huge pathway that if you can navigate that, where in airsoft it's different. There's
Circular.
it doesn't really have that direct path, from like noob to pro, so yeah, it can like you've done that full circle kind of thing now, where you're coming back into it. So
It's I can't remember who it was. One of the podcasts I listened to, and they were talking about how the nature of airsoft being club based also limits airsoft. It won't grow because club based is quite different. And they were comparing it to paintball, and how paintball was a commercial driven entity, and we're going to sell these balls at whatever price. So what we pay for a bag of 3,000 BBs, $30, whatever it is. And what does 100 paintball things cost you?
There's no money. There's no money in the industry because we've beaten the New Zealand airsoft. I don't like. It's hard to even call it an industry. Like you can call like paintball industry. It's multi-million-dollar industry every single year. Whereas it's challenging just to describe New Zealand airsoft as having an industry, because it's just like clubs are fantastic. Like I think TAR's fantastic. I think there's a lot of other clubs around New Zealand that are fantastic and they connect people and all the rest of it. The one challenge though is how do we keep doing the club thing, but also give it the ability to grow, and people can go, oh, what are you talking about, John? Like airsoft's growing all the time. Look at it, like everything that we're doing. Yep, like I'm not arguing particular points, but sadly, in everything in life, and coming back to like Jono's, growing up playing rugby for years and years and years and having that pathway, part of the reason why there is that pathway is because there's money, and that money gives a sport the ability to grow far larger and go to more places. Like at the end of the day, like if a club doesn't have any money, if its members aren't paying money, like it cannot survive. But if we say that, hey, we want to grow airsoft, we want to do it in a positive way, we can do that. We can achieve that. But we can achieve that if we can inject some money into it, and that money, we're going to bring in a whole lot of money, and it's going to create opportunities that we didn't have before. So we can do new things. So it's less circular. So it's like we've been doing this thing. So club rugby can be club airsoft is grassroots. That gets all these guys into it, introduces them in a positive way. It's fantastic. They get settled in. But like a lot of people, like we've got ambitions. So like if we wanted to use paintball as an example, it's like even here in New Zealand, if you were like, right, paintball's my jam. Paintball is big enough that at the end of the day, Joe Bloggs from, I don't know, down in Featherston has a dream of becoming a professional paintballer. And he can, as crazy as that might be, and as hard as that pathway might be, like there is a pathway for him to attempt to achieve that. And so I think the challenge is how do we do that here in New Zealand, because it doesn't exist right now. And we've got a lot of ideas around that, and obviously one being the New Zealand Airsoft League, and how we can grow that. So you once said that you are not competitive. And we want to, like, there's a lot of reasons why we want to create the New Zealand Airsoft League Championship, and I'm not going to rattle them off. But at the end of the day, like, there are players out there that really enjoy airsoft, but they do enjoy the competing side of things. You know, they're just competitive by nature, and some people knew that beforehand, and some people have kind of come to realize that. You know, getting into the Airsoft League. So, like, what is it about? What is it about the league that kind of like sparked that within you when you said that you weren't a competitive person?
So I'm not a competitive person.
No, and you are not currently leading the championship either.
So like initially I was just supporting you guys, right? The idea was you guys are doing something. I want to make sure that people are giving it a shot. I'll show up. Run around the rain with you. And you know, you guys, the skirmish system is pretty cool. I enjoy that, seeing what's going on and being able to capture it. I think actually for me, like I've never been, like I played rugby as a little one, not more into football. Sorry for those in New Zealand who don't call it soccer. Spent too long in London. And hockey. So I played sport probably up until 14, 15 until I discovered girls, probably be the reality of that one. But it was the team, I think. So there was a moment on the first league, the first round. Sorry, we were out, and we had been bumping up against this group, Gorka Girlies. That's probably sexist. Gorka Goobers, something like that.
Yeah.
We should use that one. We kept bumping up against them, and these are our mates, right? So
The Gorka gang.
the Gorka gang, yeah, kind of head to head. And
Super nice dudes, by the way.
We'll be sharing room with them, so don't release this till after we share the room. We was at the moment there was in my squad. I think there's 4 or 5 of us at this stage, and we just clicked, and we were walking in this kind of squad group. 2 of our squad members had gone bush, so they were going flanking and doing stuff, and the other 4 of us were going forward, and we were just carving. And there was this moment that I went, I'm part of a team that is playing as a team. We've spent at this day, we all know each other. And like, to be honest, I kind of handpicked who I wanted to play with. Like, so if I'm part of a team, I don't want to play people I don't like. And not that there's no one at the club that I don't like, but there's people that I'm like, I understand them, I get them. And I went, I really liked how Ben carved me up in that game. he plays like me. I really like how Tim goes completely bush. That'll compliment me. I really like Nate. Nate will actually kind of coordinate us. He's meant to be, but he got concussion, so I ended up getting into that role. And then Ryan Rydog, he was just owning it. We had Grant, I think, at this stage. Grant was only there for a day, hanging out with us, make the second day. But we clicked, and there was just this vibe that I got, and it was something that I never had in music before. So I've always played on my own. Lone wolf, disappear, get shot, shoot someone else, and
Yep.
cool boys move. You know, actually a team running, and I'm enjoying that squad. And so that when we're talking about what I liked about the league was that I've got a squad. We went out for dinner together in Cambridge. We've got our own Facebook group. And, you know, I'm probably the one that's the most kind of get talking. We've got our own patches. I'm not wearing one today. I'm trying to get merch. If we had a sponsor that would pay for merch, it'd be awesome. But you know what I mean? Like that did it. And all of a sudden, when you're part of a team, there's a non-written agreement that you will do your best to help the team succeed.
Yep.
So the competitive nature, when I say I'm not competitive, I'm not probably competitive as an individual. Like I didn't care so much about scoring the highest points for the day. On day one, Ryan was like, I really like to go for it, mate. You lead it and I'll support.
Yeah.
But I would like my squad to place.
Yeah.
That's
As a
cool.
team.
And then when you plays once, it's like actually when we all got our names right to our squad member, actually we've come first. And then in the second one we came second.
Yeah.
Was it? Yeah. So I got a
second
bronze and a
overall.
silver, and you know, and that was against a home team. And the team that came third was a home team.
Yeah.
So I think that was pretty good. And one of the things that I noticed at that second event, because a lot more players, double the size, maybe a bit more,
3 times. I
three
think.
times the size.
Yeah.
They were showing up for a club game,
Mhm.
and I'm going, guys, you're playing this wrong. This is a squad-based game. You're lovely people, but I'm not going to follow your tactics and charge as a squad, as a team. I'm a squad. See you later. And it was very interesting. So there's that competition within a team. But when we came to the very last game, the first round, the first of the, we bolted and just got all the points we could. Right, we spread out, we ran for it. We got sprinted down. So I'm not fast, but I managed to get 3 points, capture three zones. But Ewan, who's a Gawker gang member who joined us for that game, he got dusted.
Yeah.
The guy just sprint straight past him. The vibe shifted. So this is your team, but people are moving. So you could see the competition coming out, and I'm smiling because it was fun.
Yeah.
And if it's fun, I'll do it. If we don't place and we get completely rolled in the third round, that's fine, because I've had fun on it. And you know, there were a few moments that I wasn't having fun in round 2. You know, and like, you know, sometimes airsoft isn't fun, and you just sort of go chill out.
Well, and unless you're on drugs, like you're not going to
happy all the time.
enjoy 2 days of airsoft the entire time and just be like, oh, if I see you after 2 days and you're like smiling
Still
like
feels
a
like you
crazy
just got
person,
there.
I'll be like, we need to sit down and have a chat.
So, what are you on?
Yeah.
What's in your water bottle?
Yeah, so the competitive side, I think it's come back as more of that. So
You enjoy the team aspect.
I do,
of it.
and like I was going to say, I'm naturally a leader. I like coordinating, and I think that like someone told me off and said, "What's the moral of the story?" to me in a message. True story. But for me, it was like I was so focused on helping the team get their act together and get accommodation sorted out. I wasn't paying attention to getting my own ticket. And when I went to get a ticket, I was in trouble until someone helped me out. But like, I think that's the thing I have to watch.
And part of that's just your nature, right?
It is my nature. I will take over.
You contribute.
Yeah. But I will take over and go, you're not doing a good enough job, I'll do it. So it's another thing that I have to make sure that so I don't own it all. And that's what I'm hoping by having it. So with the beebs, the beeb magnets, someone keeps calling me beebs and reminding me of Justin Bieber, so now I live with that. we won't talk about the Predators. There's a whole lot of issues with that name. But anyway, I don't want to own it all on my own. And the team, there are individuals that are more active and engaged. Like Tim's been doing our tactics. Like we can't share it. This is all top secret, but we've got our own our own
You got battle plans.
battle plans and plays where Tim has got Lego out and he's actually mapped out them videos.
Yeah,
of
cool.
us
That's
to
awesome.
communicate how he wants us to act. Now, what was really annoying was that when we were trying to interact, then Tim wasn't there, so he was ringing me on the phone saying, "What happened here?" I'm like, "Have you seen the field we're on?
Yeah.
I can't do what you're asking me to do. That's right in the open. It's not going to say like getting Tim to make to that game, but that's cool. That's another layer of airsoft coming out of what the league.
Yeah, yeah,
We've
yeah.
got plays. We've got names for our plays. Mm.
Yeah, there's been like so many things that have happened, like like with Tim, because he couldn't be at the second round, but he was actively providing like you guys
Pit boss, yeah.
support, like when you're playing in Cambridge, he's in Taranaki, and for people that don't know how far apart those are, it's like 3 hours. So you've got you which again, like in airsoft is not a thing. Like, why the heck would someone sit at home and give like these
Be
other
wondering how the
guys,
game's going.
like support
And he's
at
watching
a game that
Yeah.
he's not at, and because because of the skirmish system, he can watch it
Yeah.
online in real time and be able to provide that support, which is
Well, like a coach, he's going, this guy here's, I can see what he's doing.
Mhm.
He's just going nuts. And I can't remember the guy who got top points for that event. I can't remember his name.
Casey.
Yeah, but he was watching his points rank up, and where he was hitting, he could see so he could see his movement.
Yep.
And so he was able to go, the tactics changed. Try this. You guys need to shift your tactics because this is what this squad's doing.
Yeah, yeah, but there's, what's really, a common thing for us, which people enjoy bringing up, is like the whole at-home advantage thing. It's a real thing. Like we're well aware of that. But that's a real thing in every single sport that we play. So it's something like that we need to be aware of and make sure that we're doing things in a particular way. Like some people were like, "Oh, why do you have a practice day?" It's the whole reason is to the Airsoft League is this completely new format. So just breaking people out of the mindset, the skirmish mindset that they've got so accustomed to, because it's what they do week after week after week after week, year after year after year. Like for us, you've been playing longer than us, but both me and John have been playing like 11 or 12 years. You even longer. Like that's what we've been accustomed to for such a long time. So it's literally taking time to break people out of that mold and be like, hey, this is a brand new thing. You've got to have a brand new mindset and play the game completely differently. But part of the practice day, which is exactly the same when I was racing bikes, which is 2-day event. First day is a practice day. That is your day to get your shit together, get your bike dialed in. So hopefully by the end of the day, you're fast. So then when you go into qualifying, like fingers crossed, you could get a number one spot or whatever that might be. And this is the other thing that I think the airsoft community needs to learn with the introduction of the Airsoft League is this format with the league is a sport, and you can't just go and turn up like for every single round of the Airsoft League and be the winner. Like for me, when I was racing bikes, like for one entire season, there was one round where I won the overall, like out of the entire season. And that's normal. There could be like 20 guys on the track. One person is going to come first, and one person's going to come 20th, and everyone in between. And it's exactly the same. So like the practice game is like hey, you're unfamiliar with the field or you haven't played here much, here's the day to get you guys dialed in. So then on the Sunday, the championship day, you're at your best, whatever your best might be.
Yeah.
Your best might be fifth place or whatever, or maybe it's first. Who knows? Like that's the day we find out. But that's the whole reason behind it, and it's super fascinating when we'll get a player. They're like, oh, like is the practice day important? Like, what like if every and it's like again, like they haven't quite clicked yet,
Yeah.
and then like they click and go, oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Yep.
But it's just interesting to see that happen, and but yeah, just to like the Airsoft League has felt like a bit of an onion really, where we've done so many of the layers of the onion, but it's just like it's super cool just to watch these things come out of it, like Tim or whatever it might be, and be like, huh, I totally didn't expect that.
Yeah, it's exciting to hear that there's guys who, aren't there for that round, for whatever reason that might be, but they're there.
Yeah.
They're there.
Yeah.
They're
Bringing me on the field, beer calling.
yeah. Like
Oh,
I,
that'd be
talking to Ewan, he mentioned that she'd finished work and then shot home to sit down and see how the game was playing out.
He was sending messages.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's something like the league has created that kind of environment.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, that is super cool to see airsoft players engaged in a game that they're not at on the day. Like, which I've never seen. It's like super, like it's just super humbling really, to get to see people get excited about that, especially so early on. Because obviously for me and Jono, we have these long-term goals. Like it's yeah, we need to focus on like the third round and what's coming up for the 2026 season, but realistically like it has to be so much bigger than that, because it's like some of the to come back to like talking about growing industries and injecting money and things like that, like some of that stuff is like conversations that need to be started now. In those conversations, like I'm having conversations where they're not in a position to do anything for the 2025 season, but can we please like continue this conversation and see what we can do for 2026? So it's like some of those conversations are like a year-long conversation before we actually see any action out of that. And again, there's only so many people that are going to be like, oh, okay, yeah, like I'll spend a year like talking to this one person and in hopes, because nothing's guaranteed. Like, some businesses have been like finding it hard this year, hence why they haven't got involved or whatever the reason is. And that's the other hard thing. Like we're doing all these long-term things with the understanding that they may never happen, like a year from now. But we have to pursue it because it might happen. And again, that comes back to being the president of a club, and like doing those shitty jobs that like it's like I've got other things I could be doing. I could just be playing airsoft, and not being like, oh man, no, I can't go to the game this weekend because like I need to get these things done, so then I can still spend time with my kids and my wife and run my other business and blah 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 blah. And none of this is any kind of sob story, but it's life, and it's nitty gritty, and it's long term, just to create something for other people. Because we're not playing the airsoft league. It's like we just go there, we do it, and for the other players, and all we can hope for, and that's why your feedback and seeing what Tim and Cheat are doing and things like that are really encouraging. But it's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
It's really, really challenging. But anyway,
Mm-hmm.
enough about that. But yeah, like it's obviously it's been super cool to because we dream up all this stuff and we hope for all these things, but until it actually happens. So seeing like and performance aside, because obviously the bead magnets are currently in first place for the championship, but even putting that aside, like seeing what you guys have created just like with team, like is super exciting. Like that's really, really cool. And that's what it's all about, is like giving airsofters an opportunity if they want to, and seeing them grab hold of that opportunity and it flourish. From like and another cool thing has been like for us organizing events. When it comes to sponsorship, normally companies will just sponsor an event because the events are generally one-off and things like that. So they'll provide sponsorship for that event. But that one of the other things that we wanted to create was the opportunity for teams and individual players to go out and seek sponsorship for themselves, which again has been really challenging with New Zealand airsoft events, because it's like, why would you sponsor an individual player? Like, because at the end of the day, sponsorship is marketing. You want to sponsor the guy that's out the front, that's getting the results, that's getting the attention, so you can have your business logo on there, so it gets lots of exposure, etc., etc. So it's very challenging for a company to do that with just when an airsofter is just playing airsoft. So that's been really, and seeing companies being super receptive to it as well is really exciting. And obviously you guys have managed to
we've been really fortunate.
pick up those conversations.
Yeah,
and
so we've got special effects, which has been really good.
Mhm.
Sponsor us, and Chris and the crew down at Unlimited in Wellington. So that's been awesome. So Chris has been supplying us with BBs, which is really helpful. Yeah, and it's kind of humbling too. Like I reached out all over the place. I said all place, like I created a document and started emailing out a number of different businesses, airsoft businesses and airsoft adjacent, radio silence. But Chris was straight to me and said, "Look, we'd really like to help you. What can we do? What does it look like?" So that's been awesome. I mean, yeah, the guys have been really grateful. So we've had ammo, which it helps, right? I don't know. I didn't know what to expect. Like, it felt quite awkward to go out and ask for sponsorship. And, well, I do sales, part of my day job, so I've got to lose. But it's just having that confidence to do it. And then talking to other teams who've got sponsorship. So Gorka Gang's got sports sponsorship. MCU got sponsorship. So they've been doing it. I suppose it gets really tricky if you've got 50 teams all trying to get sponsorship. So again, what's in it for the sponsor? So I'm kind of grateful that Cellus, or my YouTube channel Cellus NZ's got almost 1,600 subscribers. It's not huge, but 600 subscribers. I get interactions. People are seeing it. I don't know, 700 and something followers on Facebook. Yeah, whatever. But people interact, and it gives me a chance. Like you said, there's something there. I started Bead Magnets page that's been going reasonably well as well. I haven't been using Instagram as much. I put some of the team members would do that, but occasionally remember to put stuff on Instagram. But yeah, I think it's good if we can help promote airsoft in a positive way, in a constructive way, then why not? It's benefiting me because it means there's more airsoft.
Exactly.
What is anything better? More airsoft? Yes, please.
Yeah, and it's like I said earlier, it doesn't take away from anything else that the community is doing. It's just merely there to create new opportunities. So then the community has more options. And so for the players that see value in it, they're like, cool. Like,
you talk about grassroots rugby, right? Everyone wants to go to the next level. So they're going to stay playing grassroots rugby, but those that are interested. So it's like I said to you a while ago, I think there'll be a natural point where people will come and check it out. What is the league about? And then you'll have, I don't know, 600 people show up and check it out, and 300 stay, or whatever it is. And of the 300, 100 will keep going and build it. But, how big does it need to be? Like, if you've got 10 teams, if you've got 20 teams, like, what does that mean? And what's a team? Like, how many people are in a team? Like, we're trying to get, my goal is between 10 and 12 in the roster. So, we could have 6 people that are at the core, but life, I can't pull a squad together. There's only 6 people in the whole lot. At 12, we've been able to pull a squad together. If anything, round 3, because I think people are like, I missed the last, I want to go, we might have to have subs. We might not all be able to play.
Yeah, sure.
We might, and which is also cool. Because that means we can have an offensive and a defensive. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying offensive and defensive team, but we go, right, we need to mix it up. I'm tired. You go sprint for this one, and on game day, we can mix it up. So I think there's different ways of doing it, isn't there?
Yeah. There's been a big conversation that me and Benno have is around. There's been every reason to invest in just truckloads of gear, and not so many reasons to invest in going to events. I mean, like, I think Tara is a classic example of like, it's a club that fulfills the average airsofter. So they don't feel the need to travel because they just don't see that, it's extra cost. And they just don't.
15, they haven't got the money.
And so there's lots of different reasons around it. But it is pretty key, like, especially with players that do airsoft for a longer period of time, that you end up with a shed ton of gear that you can't use.
Looking at my gear behind me, aren't you?
No, but it's like
I use them all, just at one at a time.
Yeah. You just change your gun out every 15 minutes. And whereas like and again, sometimes I think the likes of us and Benno and people in similar positions, because of the nature of what we're doing, we do a lot of research and kind of like look at other countries, look at other communities and things like that, and be like, well, these guys over here, like, they're all about the events, and not so much about their gear. They have like their core gear, and that's it, and they put all their money into going to events. That is the priority to them, and it's just interesting to see that. But again, like, is that could also be part of this circular situation of like, what's keeping me in airsoft is like the new gear that I'm buying and loadouts and this airsoft gun, or I wanna convert my gun to a Kythera or whatever it is, because I get more enjoyment out of that, and it keeps me engaged because there's just not the particular event or event format that would engage me differently, and maybe, and again, like, that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to create these new opportunities, so we might capture that player that sees what we're doing with the Airsoft League or with OPAP, whatever it might be, and go, that is my jam. Like, I want to go to that, and et cetera, to give them a reason not to just sit there and spend all their money on gear, and when an awesome event comes up, they're like, well, kind of like going to it, but I don't have the money
Mm.
because I spent it on all my gear.
Mhm.
You know, but for the gearheads out there, like that's what I mean. Like
Mhm.
airsoft is a complicated thing. For some people, it is all about that. I mean,
Yeah.
we've got friends that
Yeah.
have the
They've got the
entire
armory.
wall,
Yeah.
the armory,
Yeah.
you know, and they love it, and it's impressive,
Mhm.
you know. But the question always comes back to what is keeping players engaged.
Yeah, I've had to budget to do events.
Mhm.
I've made a budget in my head, and like I think I can do 3 or 4 events a year. That's probably it.
Mhm.
And I'm fortunate enough that I can afford that, and I'm fortunate enough that I have the time to go do it. Who knows what next year looks like? But at the moment, I'm geared up for the next 2.
Yeah.
And like to be honest, I don't think there'd be more than that. I think if I were doing like apart from maybe nationals, don't know if that. But I'm not in my head ready for South Island yet. Just the logistics and the cost of that. I haven't quite got there yet, but I'll face that when I face it. But yeah. I mean, what's Auckland? 4 and a bit. No, it's 5-hour drive, 5.5-hour drive. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say
Yeah.
kind of
Stop for lunch.
four hours,
Yeah.
4 to 5 hours.
Yeah. Yeah.
But like anything, I mean, like when I was racing bikes, there is no home track.
Yeah.
I had to travel.
Yeah.
Like end of story.
Yeah.
So it's like you want to race bikes, that's what it entails. You know, like so it was like so it's like, and like I'm sorry guys, but airsoft is cheap.
Mm-hmm. Oh, very cheap.
Talk to anyone that does any other sport. Like to race bikes for 1 year is
Tires.
tens of thousands
Yeah.
of dollars.
Well, like you found out with the shooting club and
Yeah,
the
yeah,
rail steel
yeah,
stuff,
yeah.
you know,
Thousands and thousands.
crazy money.
And I think it was about $400-500 for a weekend's event, and that was basically just fees and ammo.
Wow.
Yeah, and then depending how you want to compete, what I was looking at was service pistols. So there was 3 different categories, 3 different pistols ranging from 1,600 to whatever thousand, 2.5, to start with, all different caliber. So you're using different ammo for every event you're in, and yet there's travel involved as well. So not cheap. And then there's a whole lot of logistics of having.
Yeah. And would it be fair to say that, you know, going to airsoft for the first time, you can just turn up and give it a crack?
Yeah.
Whereas if you
For
want to get
$30-40, whatever it is
Yeah.
now, big bag of BBs, AEG, rental, and
You're away.
field day. Yeah, $50 for a whole day, and
Yeah.
you're kicking
It's
$30 worth of bag of BBs afterwards.
it's incredibly accessible.
Which is probably why you're getting that balance for those that don't have the money, because you look at it and go, I can
Because it's so accessible.
So I don't want to sound rude, but you're able to I take my son along when he's old enough, and I could probably spend. I don't need to because I've got all the gear, but if I buy him his own BDU, and I buy him some shoes and everything else like that, pack of gear, vest and all that, $500. I mean, if he's playing rugby, I've got to buy boots, I've got to pay for fields, I've got to get uniform.
Yep.
Probably not much different.
And as Jono knows, and man, we've played rugby together as well. Like you're not just playing the sport, you're committing to the sport. And Jono can tell you in depth like what it means to, and the commitment gets deeper and deeper and deeper, like the further you get into it. Whereas, like South, like one day you're just like, this ain't me. I'm just gonna stay home. Whereas,
you do that in a sport like rugby or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, you're going to have the coach or the
ringing,
team manager on the phone pretty quick. You know, where the heck are you?
In you.
Yeah.
and then your
100%.
entire team, right?
Yeah,
They're just gonna rip
exactly.
you.
They're going to rip you, and you'll be that dude doing 50 laps around the field at the next training, because there's that expectation. You know, you got to be there. You got to perform. Show up, do the job.
And they will tell you to your face that you're a dick.
Yeah.
And now you
Dick
have
move,
to
bro.
prove to all of us why you should even be here.
Yeah.
Which, like, man, imagine, ripping a dude, expecting any kind of like expectation or a level of commitment out of a airsoft player. You'll never see them again. Yeah. I mean, there's like we're far from being out of the woods, right? Like the what's hard and shitty at times is when you don't have something, you have to create it. You have to do all the shit work.
Yeah.
So like, coming back to legacy, like for someone else to continue the airsoft league or whatever into the future, they don't have to do any of that stuff, because it's like if someone else takes it on and continues to do it, like
The
it
donkey
obviously
work.
at a
The
point
donkey
where
work's done.
the hard work's been done, it's been established. They basically just continue to run the show. Everything's kind of blueprinted at that point as well, and that's like a big thing, because like to do what like special effects is doing, and to do what Beno's doing with MIA, part of the part of what we are doing is creating a series of airsoft events every year, where a player can have an expectation on how that event's going to run, and turn up and fairly have that expectation. They just know, hey, if I go to an MIA event, if I go to a special effects event, this is what I expect to happen. There's a standard to that event, and which again I think is fantastic, because again that's not always the case, but it's like you have to spend the time like building that. We, like me and Jono, would be the first people to be like, man, like we had to learn from some pretty shitty mistakes. And we've taken on that extra level of responsibility, because these companies are financing themselves, and that's the same money that feeds my family and pays my mortgage and all the rest of it. So like, that's a heavy weight, and there's a lot of responsibility that comes from that, which is, I hate to say it, completely different from club. There's if
There's no financial risk.
if TAR falls over tomorrow,
no one.
everyone go home. Carry on your lives. And we do that, we do that willingly. But it doesn't take back the level of responsibility. But like, it's kind of like that ultimate responsibility, and I think that kind of which is great for the player, because it builds into that expectation of like, hey, these guys need to do a good job, because if players don't turn up, we still have to pay the bills. Like the day that event's happening, we've already committed to certain things financially. And if we do a shit job and the players are like, nah, we don't want to know about this, like we're kind of screwed. But I like, and not everyone's into that. Just like not everyone's into like running their own business, because they just don't want that level of shit and responsibility. But I think it's good most of the time, because of like the outcome, especially for the players. I say most of the time, because sometimes I'm just like, am I gonna have a heart attack? But it's good. And so coming back to the Airsoft League, we've got the grand final coming up in September, which is getting hosted in Auckland. What do you like? Not to put you on the spot, but do you guys, as a team, kind of have an expectation of like, or an idea of what you want to try and achieve for the last round?
Win it, I think,
Mhm.
would be what everyone would like to do. I think we went around 2 and I just wanted to place. I think that was, to me, that was success, just placing.
Mhm.
Yeah, it'd be nice to win. Placing, I think, would be the minimum goal. I think if we don't get in top 3, we're not pushing hard enough. Something's not quite right there. The fact that it's a whole new field, that shouldn't be any. There's no home advantage, so it's anyone's game in that sense. But I think it'll be the purest in that sense. That no one knows the field, so we're all starting fresh.
Yeah.
So that it'll be more pure competition.
Mhm.
There's no,
For sure.
oh, I know this angle, I know this. We're all got to figure it out.
And
Yeah.
and we, we just have to deal with a level of perception. It's like, I think personally, you guys at second round
Yeah.
prove that like at home advantage is
Oh.
it plays a part,
Yeah.
but it's not.
Yeah.
It doesn't necessarily affect
not a
the
factor.
outcome.
I think like the advantage that we had, we were the only returning team.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we already knew how to play the game. So I think there was an element of we didn't need to learn how skirmish worked or how the league worked and how the points worked.
But you did have that whole practice day to kind of get your head around it.
Yes, but even so, I think like Predators and I don't know where the whiskey squad were at that stage. Predators definitely played like from day one they were playing, but I didn't notice whiskey squad.
Yeah.
So I think that took them the round to go. So I think the Predators were good competitors. Like there was holy crap.
They got
Yeah.
here, they locked in.
Yeah. They are. I mean, they were. Yeah.
Like how did he get here so fast?
Mhm.
Yeah.
I later learned that there were a number of the trails we were taking, the locals knew different trails.
Mhm.
And so then we tried to use that towards the end, and it was so much faster without having to go up a hill and down a hill, kind of cut through. So that's the home field advantage, right? Like, how did they get here so fast?
Yeah.
Well, they know that trail. We got lost trying to figure out how to get across the river in certain spots. So there's a lot of that stuff was in day one, trying to figure it out. And I was like, actually, I don't feel like soaking myself on day one. I will soak myself on day, not like, when I say soaking, it's above your boot.
Well,
but
unless you do what some people did
went for a
and
swim.
literally fall
Fall.
into the river.
Well, I didn't do that. So yeah, I think that was their home field advantage, is that they didn't have to learn the field like we did. But what I mean by, I think when we show up on round 3, I reckon the Gawker gang will be there. I reckon we'll be there. I reckon Predator, everyone that's showing up, the teams that are showing up will know how to play.
Mhm.
I don't know how many new teams you'll get. Like there'll be the Aucklanders that want to show up, but a lot of them came, don't they? There's a lot of an Auckland contingency.
Yeah.
In Cambridge.
Yeah.
So you might get more, but what I'm thinking there's going to be like 5 teams, and that's what I'm really hoping, that actually have been there, done that, and know what they're doing from a squad-based scenario. It'll be actually quite fun, competitive. From what I've noticed with skirmish, that's awesome. That just means higher points. So that's going to be what's going to be interesting for me is how the league plays out from a points perspective. Because if we look at what happened in round 1 with low scoring compared to round 2, like we went from like, I think we won 90 something, and it was 180 something. So it's almost twice the amount of points.
Yeah.
It's the same amount of capture points, right? Just a bigger team means more trading. You might have had 10 instead of 8. Yeah, but
second round.
you only get more points if someone's capturing your.
Yep.
If you're trading, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
more teams,
yeah.
more capture. So what could be really weird is that you could win it on 2 rounds. So the Predators could win it because those 2 rounds are higher scoring.
Yeah.
And our 90 point, whatever 70 point lead it is now becomes nothing. That's only half a round. It's, so that's the kind of thing that's in my head. Expectation wise, is will it play differently? Holy crap! Why wasn't Tara higher scoring? I think because it wasn't as many teams, so there wasn't as much trading. You can't score if you got everything right. Like you talked about in round 2 when I think Green were dominating the whole field, push back into our home respawn, and you like leave it, and people getting worried, and it's like, look at it going, these points we can get, I need to get out.
Yeah.
I just need to break out.
There was
they're all fighting here, and I couldn't get out. And then we managed to break out. And then you could see them coming behind us. Oh, we can get points now.
Yeah. See, that was that, like for us admin, that game where it got to a point where like green team owned the whole field, like the admin team, naturally because of the the normal format they're used to, they were like, oh guys, like I don't know about this, like this one team's dominating, rah rah rah. But for us, kind of knowing the ins and outs and the understanding of like how the game plays out, one just being pure duration, like eventually you're gonna lose those positions.
Yeah.
You can't on a field that was 48 acres or something.
Yeah, it was
like
massive.
it's physically impossible
Yeah.
to hold all those positions for one,
Yeah.
and two, like you say, for so like traditionally you'd be like, oh, this is just a one-sided game, but with the airsoft league and the skirmish system, no, that's just showing blue team that now they have the opportunity to capture every single device and get points. So it's like like it's the opposite. It's like, oh, we've got an entire field we can go capture now, and reap the rewards of doing that.
Yeah, I think the other kind of expectation is, I feel like this would be our third, will actually be a fourth, because UX is actually a team event for us. There's only three of us going, so it's not as big. But I feel like we're getting more of a roster that know each other, and I'm really interested to see now that you've added the individual champion thing, how that helps the squads. So whenever we were kind of starting, it was like, well, do you want to be the top scorer?
Yeah.
Okay, well, how are we going to help you be the top scorer? Well, it doesn't matter now. You're a squad. Doesn't matter. So we're now working as a team,
Right.
which I'm looking forward to as well. Because the last two games, the last two rounds has been, I would like to be the top scorer.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we'll help you be top scorer.
Yeah.
And for those that are wondering, the person that captures the point first gets 2 points for the initial capture, and assist is 1 point, and then there's a conversion point for the first person at the end of it too. So if you capture the point completely, that first person's going to get 4 points. So if you want to be the top scorer for the day, you need to be the first one there. So then you got to wait till that person gets there and takes it, and then everyone else can stack in and get their additional squad points. Well, that won't matter now. It's like whoever's there first, and really let's get it. So it means we can move faster. So I'm hoping that's there. I'm hoping that we've ironed out a lot of stuff. Like even with the second round with my kit, I took different kit. I had different backups. I went lighter. Why do I need a sidearm?
Yeah.
It's just weight that I don't need. So we're starting to get there. It's a different event, and that's why my P90 was good, because it's little, I can run with it. It's compact. I've now got a little machine pistol, which is not very effective at range, but I can work that through. I'd rather have a lighter gun than a heavier gun, all those kind of things. I don't need 5,000 rounds on me, because you know what? I used mid caps. I went through 2 mid caps if I was lucky, maybe 3 per round. When I say round, per the 2 games in each day. So I would have shot 300 rounds as opposed to a skirmish day, and I'd be like, oh, it's been 3 hours, I need to reload.
Yeah.
1,000 rounds. Yeah. So different play, because shooting isn't getting points.
Yeah. And again, like it's
Tim's going to tell me off for sharing.
but it's again been like really interesting for us, because again, that's a big mind shift for players to be like, hey, like getting into engagements isn't the objective. The objective is to get points. And for people that don't know, we have championship teams that are competing against each other, but we also have disruptive players as well. So that's just an option for players that don't want to compete, but they embed with the competing teams as well. So there is an option for everyone, whether you're a competitor or not. We have a specific rule that states that you cannot take spare ammo and speed loaders on your person. They must stay at your fob, which is your base, your main base for each team. And we got a lot of questions and a little bit of flack over there, because people were like, oh, what do you mean? Like, different people had different reasons
Yep.
for like being upset about that, but one, they hadn't been to an airsoft league event before, so they were just basing it on their
Their normal
experience.
club stuff. Yeah.
And but you know, you just pointed that out, that because engagements don't get you points and don't get you any further ahead, you don't need 6 mags.
Mhm.
You know, like they're long duration games. They're like 2 hours each.
Mhm.
Like, you know, some, you know, traditional games that we playing for 2 hours, you'd need to bring like a bag of BBs with
Mhm.
you,
Mhm.
because you would just rip through
Yep.
multiple mags, or, you know, if you're an LMG player, you'd need to, you know, refill your box mag. So, you know, there's some of these games going through thousands
Well,
of rounds.
And it's semi-auto as well, right? So you're only
Yeah,
firing
except for
when you-
LMGs.
Yeah, and you know there was one guy with LMG and he had like mid-cap rounds and he was going backwards and forwards and I kind of dreaded naming him. And he was having a blast though. He was
Mhm.
suppressing whole squads coming in, but he had these kind of weird little mid-cap 150 or something rounds.
Yeah.
That he was constantly
And-
having to go back
yeah.
and reload.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As opposed to a 2,000 round box.
and I think, you know, like, to describe, you know, that casual player ticket option as a
Mhm.
disruptor
Yep.
is so fitting, because like he was a perfect example. He was a disruptor player. He wasn't there to like compete and get as many points, and he was just shooting the crap
was
out
just
of
there to scam.
everyone.
Yeah.
You know,
We were able to go, can you take this hill and just cover this flank? And then we
Mhm.
left him to it and went off and did our thing. And he just stopped people coming in to get us when we were pushing on points.
Yep. But that, you know, that rule, that ammo limiting rule, was also there to mitigate situations where, like, you know, that particular player being an LMG player,
Mhm.
well, he could just sit there all day
Mhm.
with bags and bags of BBs and just block off like your approach the entire time with no end in sight, which is actually just going to piss people off. But you know, if it's a particular event where, you know, he's well in his right to do that, he can do that.
Mhm.
Like, and you just have to suck it up. But it's that rule was good for those situations as well, because it's like once he ran out of ammo, like that's it. He had to fall back, and that position opened up again. So I think it's good for multiple reasons, but it's yeah, we had to deal with some interesting and interesting feedback purely from people that hadn't been to the league events before, and I believe they would have a pretty different opinion now, because it just didn't play out like they thought it was going to play out. Yeah, which is it's been a lot of that. So obviously the win for the final round would be
Ideal.
number one idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, it will be like we're real excited to again, you know, create an opportunity where, you know, we can introduce players to a brand new airsoft field that no one's been to, and like I'm super curious because again, like the first 2 rounds have been played at club fields. And
It's one of
so-
those unknowns, eh? Like it's a new field, new layout. No one knows how it's going to go. Not even us. So
and it's exciting.
yeah.
I
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
it's Cool. Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you know, we
It's
get
like
to
finding
watch
a new
it
field.
play out, and see how that develops, and give players an opportunity where there's no at-home advantage. Give them a new place to play. You know, scratch that curious itch to see what does it mean to host a competitive event at a field where no one's competed there before. And as well, like, again, another thing we want to do is, like, even though each round is hosted at a different place in New Zealand, you know, we also like the idea of like each year being different. So like the fields being different, and like, you know, for example, AWI has access to 3 different
Well,
fields.
yeah.
So, we could do 3 years of the Airsoft League, and the 4th year would be when we finally return to the original field.
Yeah.
And again, just providing another way of keeping things fresh.
That's cool.
So it's not like, oh, hey, like it's always hosted at this field like year in, year out. I think the reality is like probably what we'll find is the league, because like we have to fit into other events, and there's only so many events you can do per year in New Zealand. Like end of the day,
Yep.
we have a small population of airsofters, so we can't saturate the calendar with like the Airsoft League. Makes 0 sense. So like there's probably it'll probably be again an opportunity for the league to move around. Like at the end of the day, we'll announce our 2026 season at the finals, but that could mean that when the following year gets released, that none of the fields were the same fields as the year prior, which is like cool.
Yeah.
And again, just trying to keep things fresh. The other ideas that we have with a slim budget.
Yeah.
That big bag of cats that would just pull things out of.
So looking, talking about the 2026 season, I mean, we've still got the final, obviously. See how that wraps up. But like, are you guys kind of thinking about the 2026 season?
There has been a little chat on it, but not a whole lot. I think for me, again, I think for the team, it would be good to get a tight roster so we know who's there, who we can pull a squad together. Yeah, if we're returning champions, competing to protect our title would be awesome.
Which is like super. It's like
It's exciting.
That's what those are the things that
Yeah.
get me and John excited. Is like the idea that like there can be a team that's like New Zealand champion.
Yeah, and like we've had an injury in the team. Nate's not been able to play for a while, so it'd be really cool. He was very keen to get him back on board and back engaged. I think he's getting there now. And just life as well, balancing things out. I really like the idea you're talking about having multiple different fields, because it ticks one of my boxes, right? Getting out in different places, seeing different fields, and getting a flavour for what's out there. That's the change thing. It'd be nice to see a CQP field, maybe. I don't know if that's doable.
Honestly, like it's
Small, I think it's probably one of the challenges.
well, no, just like if when we went and did I can't remember which number it was, but the proper milsim that was done at MIA UX when it was pristine would have been such a fun AO for the Airsoft League.
Yeah.
And it just is what it is.
Yep.
We everyone knew we would only have it for a limited amount of time because it was going to get developed.
Yep.
But that would have been super cool. And it's just
But again, it's a credibility thing, right? Like as the league grows, you might have enough credibility to get other access to other areas. I mean, like I don't think we have it as easily, because I know the army were using some of those areas that we were airsofting at, like Partia Hospital, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But getting access to army grounds or something like that, what the Americans get, I don't even know what we have access for in New Zealand. But as the league grows, it gets legitimacy. That's another big draw card, right? Get to go to this AO that you wouldn't normally get access to, because they're not only airsofters play, but because the league is legitimate against this. Might be a bit surface 2026, but that kind of stuff would be cool. Yeah, maybe we'll have a bit more. I keep saying I want to get some flags and some other bits and pieces for the team. It'd be nice to be able to show up and
have the pit tent.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
you know,
This is our patch.
yeah,
Yeah.
you know, I mean like, we had at bikes like pit lane. You'd walk down pit lane and see all the different riders and teams and things like that, and it's the same with like the you know, like the paintball in the US and things like that. Like it's like, sorry, like we can take the piss out of like paintball as much as we want, but
yeah.
like we got nothing, nothing on that. Like it's, you know, like yeah, it's they've grown that, and again they've spent the years growing it, but it's like pit lane, like every single team. Like you can walk down, there's every single team. You know what that team is. You know who they are. You can, I mean, it's to the point now where you can subscribe to a team and be a part of them and pay into a subscription where you can go hang out with them at a particular event. Like, and it's like I'm not going to sit here and say that's where we're heading, but like the other thing that's like exciting about airsoft is we're not locked into this thing, and that has to be done in a particular way. Like with rugby, it's like if you want to do something something with rugby, whatever that might be, well, hey, here's the book, and that's how you do it. Like end of story. Whereas airsoft, it's kind of it's just an open book.
Oh, yeah.
It just needs people to like drive it in a positive way. But you know, like if no one's willing to drive it, we can just keep doing our circular thing. Or if there's some people willing to put in the hard yards and drive it, like why not? You know, why not? Like it can be what we want it to be. It doesn't need to be hidden away. Like, do we want to be full send and see where we can take it? Because at the end of the day, it can be taken away tomorrow, and that'll be it.
Yep.
You know, and it's like, oh man, we should have taken those opportunities to see where we could have taken it, but you know, no one was willing to do it. So I guess to finish up, like where would you like to see airsoft, say, in the next 5 to 10 years?
So I guess one of the things that is a little bit sad in a way is, so it is and isn't. So we've seen retailers starting to grow in the region. So we've got in the country, so we've got like 4 unlimited airsoft stores across the country, 2 on the South Island, 2 on the North Island. No, 3 on the North Island, 1 on the South Island.
2 on the South Island now.
Is it 2 now? Yeah. Okay.
So yeah.
5 is it then?
So there's Wellington.
Oh, Christchurch, Dunedin.
Yeah, 4.
And
4. Hamilton and Wellington.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then Christchurch and Dunedin.
And we've got Ace. So it'd be nice to see a bit more retail. Like I think one of the biggest frustrations is that it's hard to get stuff. We talked about it earlier. There's not much variety. When I look at the US, and I don't use the US. It's probably more likely Hong Kong would be the one that I look at the most. The variety that's in Hong Kong, Taiwan, and then what's happening in the UK, because that seems to be going big as well. Be nice to see some bit more growth in the retail section so that I can get some of the cool stuff I want without having to go onto one of those 10mm AliExpress to find stuff. It'd be nice to see a few more commercial venues. So we used to have the Armory, we had ASGC or Era 41, we were at 149, and then we had Armageddon, wherever it is in the South Island. I can't remember what it's called. We've only got like 3 sites, kind of hybrid with paintball as well.
Yeah, Unlimited Airsoft's got one down in Christchurch, and there's the arena as well, which is another one.
So that's pretty cool. I don't know. Like one of the things we talk about paintball. I can go to like hunting and fishing, and I can buy a paintball marker, and I can buy. But if I want to buy airsoft, it's a Springer.
Yeah.
So that for me, the mainstream would be that I could go into a retail store, like go to Walmart, buy an AEG. Like that might be really cool to see. I don't know if I want that. Like, because part of me wants to keep it small and specialized rather than mainstream.
I don't like I don't I don't think it'd ever get to that stage, but I know what you mean. Like it'd be great. Like, but again, like this comes back to growing the industry, and
Yes.
the only way to grow the industry is for the industry to thrive, and they can only thrive if there's
More players.
money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Injected.
Yeah, well,
Um,
people are buying it, right? And if I'm being honest, I look at where my money goes. This time round, because of the way it is in New Zealand, I bought a lot of my AEGs from ASGC. Actually, I think they've all come from ASGC. I bought one second hand up until now. Like I bought a whole pile of stuff. But when I'm buying parts, of the parts I've bought, I think I bought a MOSFET from Repatek, and the rest is all coming from Hong Kong and AliExpress because I couldn't get it here.
Yeah.
Or it wasn't at a price point that made sense for me to buy it local. I even bought like I couldn't get a rotary hop up in New Zealand unless I bought a max unit for $100 and something for a G&G. And so I bought it from the UK, and I got a really good price and a really nice guy. We'll do a plug
You
for him.
got it from the UK.
Yeah.
It's got to travel halfway around the world.
And it took like 8 days.
Yeah.
As opposed to 6 from Hong Kong, wherever it's so like, and he was like, "Wow, that was quick."
Yeah.
Look, it's going to cost you £9.50. I'm like, "Don't worry, that's fine."
Yeah.
Do it cheap because I can't get it.
Yeah.
I managed to pick up a rotary hop up second hand for $50 for a stock G&G hop up unit, and I got two ZCI rotary units, which I think are nicer for the guns I put them in, for about $60, and I got a little helping hands gearbox. So I think like accessibility would be nice. So that's why I'm trying to get it, like being able to get a hold of stuff. For a while there was like, I wish we had an LA customer. I wish we had someone that was selling chow or cow, sorry, at a large scale. I could ring up and go, "Hey, what do I do to get this build?" I know Unlimited does a bit of it, but I still feel like really limited. But I've also learned like a lot of those really nice slides. The Fuku, how you meant to say it, units are like $200. So it's like, you talk about spending money on gear. I do have a limit. Buying a slide for $200, which is what, 300 and something New Zealand dollars, seems a bit much. It's costing more than buying the pistol. But accessibility like that, I would like to see more recognition in a legitimate way. So from a government perspective or a legislation's perspective, Airsoft is covered under the Arms Act, and we get roped in a way that I don't think paintball gets roped into the Arms Act, does it? Paintball, mate?
I wouldn't be the person to.
Yeah, I don't even know if they are, but someone can comment if it is or not. But it'd be nice to know that we were recognised, but also somewhat secure. So, like last legislation change where we got full auto for years and years, we were only semi, and now we can have full auto. So things like that would be nice. I would like to hope it's still going and young people coming through. So I think that's the clubs, on the clubs to ensure that they're encouraging new players to come through. You know, the 14-year-old today that will be running the club in 7, 8, 9 years, whatever it is. I think I'll say probably.
Yeah.
100%.
So yeah, that kind of thing. Yeah. So I don't know when I'm saying mainstream, it's finding that balance between it being legitimized, recognized, but not what do I use? The commercial, but it's almost like it loses its soul and it becomes
And whereas right now, technically, you go to like Repatek, like Kane at Repatek, like he knows his shit.
Yes,
and he's been doing it for years. Like you're dealing like with the retailers, you're dealing with specialists. That's what they do. Like the airsofters play airsoft. The whole world is airsoft, which is like fantastic because you get, in theory, you get good advice. But yeah, like again, if we can grow the industry, like, and it's hard to know where that's going to come from, whether it's going to come from the player or could we get to a stage where we get, companies outside of airsoft, but see value in it, like, so for example, like if we could, for the Airsoft League, if we could get a major sponsor on board that will inject money into it, well, that has a whole flow-on effect. That helps us grow what we're doing, but then, you know, that money ends up getting split up. So like every event, like we're paying multiple different people to do this event. Yeah, so it's like it has this whole flow-on effect. So if we get money coming in from that end, it flows through. It flows, you know, through what we're doing, which flows through to the retailers, which flows through to the players, and so on and so on. So there's like lots of different ways that it could be tackled. But yeah, again, like coming back to what I said earlier, like to help grow things. Yes, we don't want to be buying our airsoft guns from farmers or the warehouse. For everyone that knows who those stores are. But for everyone that doesn't, it's kind of like Walmart. Yeah, we don't want that. But I mean, that, you know, like that only comes about because it's grown so big that it like Walmart.
Everybody wants to click that ticket.
Or the warehouse. They want to clip that ticket, you know, and they just get the crappy shit in and you know,
bring it.
I mean,
bring back the Springer.
Yeah, I mean, we you know, we got a good understanding of that with the pyro side of things. Like that's something we do. We focus on it. We become experts in it. So then when someone comes to us and asks us a question, we can give them the answer that they need versus like the you know, a retail store selling that product.
Label,
like
the box.
Like you just go in there, you pick it up, you pay for it, you walk out the door. The staff don't give a shit about that thing that, you know, and it's doesn't, you know, not just pyrotechnics, but anything. Like, you know, when you go into those retail stores, you're just paid to do a job. Maybe they're commission based and they're a salesman, or maybe they're just there to like stack shelves and answer a question if you don't know where to find something. But it's not their job to care about the hundreds of products that are in that store. So yeah, it's like fantastic that we still get to deal with, you know, expert retailers in the field of airsoft.
It'd be nice for them to be able to make a decent living. That would be the thing, right? And have, so like you want to bring in brand X and brand Y, where you can't just go buy the two items you want. You've got to spend 20 grand buying this whole selection of stock, and then, you know, it's hard to get into. It's hard to bring things in that way, because not often can you just, like, you've got to buy a minimum unit, right? A minimum order.
Yeah,
So
that's a problem that we face.
So I got to spend 15 grand or whatever it is to get into your brand, and then I have to spend. I just want to buy the high cap, okay, so everyone wants, but no, you're gonna have to buy the high cap, or you have to buy, what are those ugly guns, Glocks? Sorry, you know, you're gonna buy all these other things that no one wants Glocks, so it's always But you know, I get that too. So it'd be nice because you see the stock show up. You know, yes, I want that. You turn your head for 2 minutes, come back, and it's gone because they only could get one unit. Or you could only buy 5 units because they only had $1,000.
Yeah. Well, who knows?
Yeah.
But
exciting.
I mean, yeah, it's I think it's you know, it's an exciting time for airsoft at the moment. It's nice to put some time aside and sit down with you, Marcel, and just kind of reminisce. Because it's like, I mean, you got into airsoft before me and Jono. You've been in the game a lot longer, but also it's like, you know, like it's interesting. I think it's even more interesting the fact that you were there very early on. You were super invested in airsoft, doing all these different things, to then take like a substantial break away from airsoft, and then come back into it with like a fresh perspective, wanting to have new things. So just like that's that's really interesting as well.
Mhm.
Versus like for me and Joe that
Mm.
are just so heavily entrenched in it that sometimes I don't know what is up and what is down. I think like there's people like yourself that can, you know, have
Mhm.
that perspective, look at things from the outside in, and be like, you sure you want to do that?
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you, Marcel.
Yeah,
Thanks for
thank you.
Yeah,
showing the fat with
Yeah.
us and sharing your story.
Yeah.
And we will see you at the third and final round of 2025
Looking forward to
to become the champion.
it. No pressure.
No pressure.
All right,
Very good.
that's
Okay then.
us.